Welcome, everybody, to Conspiracy or Not. Here we come. I'm here today with our guest, Amy, our regular guest for the show.
Howdy, howdy.
Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hanging in here. How yourself?
How'd that intro work out?
Well, I didn't see the image.
Oh, no, I screwed up. I didn't screen share.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, anyways, welcome, everybody. Our normal host, Aaron, is on his way back into... He went out on a job, so he should be here soon. Hopefully he'll be here within an hour. He'll be a little bit late today. Got a lot of news to cover first, and then we're going to have Amy go over... What was it called again, Amy? Just
the abundance paradigm.
Can you just briefly give us an idea what that is?
Well, that's running human society on this planet completely differently from how we're running it now. And it's based on the removing the artificial scarcity that money systems create, and allowing the abundance of the planet to flow to all people on the planet instead of, as it is now, mostly to the useless eliters.
Good. So we'll have Amy discuss that a little bit into the show. So how you been, Amy? How was your week?
It was pretty much the same kind of week as I always have.
You guys have any snow there?
No snow.
No, we got some snow here. So I'm in Victoria, BC, and as you guys can see out the window, it's gotten a little bit snowy out. So this isn't usual for us here. We usually just get rain.
Wow.
If anything, it always just goes just above freezing.
Well, it's supposed to snow here, out on Long Island. So
yeah,
but there's no snow yet.
Well, that's good to hear. So, anyways, anything in the news that you've been following, Amy? Anything new in the news you want to talk about?
Well, the Psyop of Pizzagate.
Yeah, we could talk about the Psyop known as Pizzagate, now known as Pedogate.
Yes, Pedogate.
Yeah, I can see that the mainstream media is in real either damage control, or they're just trying to discredit the truth through the whole thing. Obviously,
there's no doubt. I mean, the thing that gets to me about the whole thing is here we have enough evidence to raise suspicions. When we have our suspicions raised, people are supposed to investigate. They don't go to the suspect and say, is this true? And the suspect, of course, says, well, no, not at all. Oh, okay, we don't need to investigate. Okay, all of you guys are fake newsy. What?
Yeah.
And that's
go ahead.
That's exactly what's going on with the Pizzagate. Is you watch them, here we've got this evidence, and nobody's investigating. They're just taking his word that everything's cool, and then they're making up stuff like the Psyop shooter that they got to go in there, who said that he'd heard something about kids being held in the establishment, which, that nothing was mentioned in the Pizzagate stuff about kids being held in the establishment.
Yeah,
And
we knew about the basement and stuff like that, but we didn't know.
right, but there was never discussion about kids being held in the basement.
Right, so that story didn't make any sense either. Yeah,
No, no, it was
it didn't add up.
totally hooey.
Yeah. What was the name of the guy? What was his name?
Oh,
You remember?
geez. No, not offhand.
No, anybody in the chat remember his name?
Uh,
I don't
I'm
know.
really bad
It's
with
got
names.
to add up to something, I'm sure. Right? Because
Yeah.
it always adds up to
Oh,
something.
yeah. I know that Zach did some work on that. Zach Hubbard,
Yeah, right.
and so he had something. Madison was in his name with a double D. Which, come on,
Okay.
what? Something
Double
like,
D. 44
yeah,
kill number.
the kill number right in the middle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, they've been really pushing that. Of course, leading into the fake news aspect of things. Of course, using that as an excuse that the fake news should be shut down,
Yep.
which was my prediction pretty much from the get-go.
Yes.
Because we already know David Icke has exposed all this stuff. I mean, 20 years ago, right? And there's other people out
Yeah.
there like uh, Fitz Springmeyer,
Right.
Springmeyer, and he exposed all of the satanic pedophilia in the bloodline, right?
Right.
He
Well,
exposed that decades ago, right?
you
So
know,
it's nothing we didn't know already, of course, which WikiLeaks is famous for, giving us pretty much nothing we didn't know already. So,
well, and some of us have personal experience to draw on to say that this actually really does happen. When I was a very small child, between about the ages of 4 and 5, I was taken to satanic rituals, and yet the last one I went to witnessed my friend sacrificed on the altar. There was also sexual ritual abuse involved in these events. So I know it happens. And I know one place we went to had something to do with the Admiralty. And this was in San Diego, and that's the Navy town. And we'd go on to big, huge boats. I can't give you a whole lot of detail about what went down. So I know this stuff goes on. I have witnessed it. I have no
right,
doubts.
right.
but but I think we've been set up with some stuff. Podesta has never made any comment about those emails, which were supposed to be from him. And we never got anything back from Hillary, just his stuff and a few other people around her, but never anything she said.
Right. She just came out. Well, she did come out. Didn't she just come out the other day and give a speech about the fake news?
Yeah, well, yeah, they're all doing that, aren't they?
I didn't watch that because I just
I
can't
didn't
stomach
either.
her voice anymore. I can't handle listening to her voice, so I didn't really bother watching it. Somebody made a video about it.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, so yeah, they're. I mean, the simple fact that such a serious crime um, obviously doesn't warrant any kind of investigation,
Right.
right? And they're just taking somebody's word for it. They're actually taking the pizza owner's word for it
Right. That's my
because
point.
that was the witness that said, no, no, there's nothing going on here. And that's the owner. Well, of course he's going to say there's nothing going
Yeah,
on here. I mean,
of course.
what are we even thinking here? I mean,
I mean,
the common
does
public
this
is totally lost their brains. Like they've really gone to sunk into a new level of just complete cognitive dissonance. I swear it's got to be, what did they say it was? It was
the chemtrails
fluoride,
and fluoride
chemtrails, fluoride,
and pesticides like
GMO.
Roundup in our food and the GMOs and
Yeah.
oh yeah, I mean we're highly beset with all kinds of nastiness that
That brings it
isn't
on the
helping.
top. I know. it brings on a topic that I do want to talk about one day is where how is it that some people are awakened and some just don't wake up, you know? Like,
Probably has something to do conceivably with what sort of dietary things. I do notice that a very high percentage of the people that are awake use excuse me, use cannabis, and I think that cannabis has been, I mean, they've shown it helps with Alzheimer's. So, since a great deal of what I think is wrong is that nano aluminum that they've been spraying upon the planet, if
right.
people are using cannabis, they're more likely to be less affected by what they're spraying on us. And this could be one big reason why they don't want it legal.
Yeah, right, right. Exactly.
So,
Yeah. But with the fluoride, I mean, they don't know where to put the mining waste, so they just put it into the drinking water because they can't put it anywhere else, right?
well,
They
they
can't
it's
environmentally they can't, right?
yeah, well, they can, but it's expensive.
There's regulation
It's a lot more
has to be diluted,
profitable to
in supply.
sell the waste to put in the water than to dispose of it properly. It
Right.
costs the money to do that and a lot of it. So rather than that, they'll get money for it
Yeah.
and feed it to us, which that's rather psychopathic, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of psychopaths, the Lenny Posner apparently is on the CNN. Did you
I
see
I
that?
I did see a little bit of it.
Truth
Uh,
Virus put out a good video, and a few other
yes,
people have done
yes,
a
that's
pretty good
right.
video on that.
I think it was Truth Virus that I caught that on.
And basically they've got him. You know, well, he doesn't want to show his face. You know, of course, but
Nope,
he was all
nope.
over the television the day of the thing.
Yes.
You know? But they've got him saying that anybody just, how could you say that about a dead kid? They give no actual evidence of anything at all. They give
No,
no debunking at all.
no,
It's
they never
all based
address
on
the.
emotions, on
Yep,
appealing to emotions. It's just
yep.
based on saying anything that we say. We're watching Anderson Cooper, okay, the guy whose nose disappeared on the video, right?
Right.
And then he says he actually confronted it and he tried to debunk it.
Uh,
And he said that, oh, we get these problems all the time with the thing. It's like, well, no, you
no,
don't. No, I've never seen anything. I've never seen anyone's nose disappear
unless
on
they're
live
on it,
television.
unless they're standing in front of a green screen.
Yeah, exactly. And he was trying to debunk it. It was just pathetic, you know. And the
Oh,
level that they've stooped now is. I've noticed Anderson's eyes have gotten a little blacker too. So,
well, maybe the
but
excrement has risen that high.
it's just this total thing I think about where the more evil and the more lies and deception you are, your eyes turn blacker. Uh,
Conceivably.
I don't know. Because Ron Paul's eyes were pitch black,
Yep, yep.
and he's the biggest shill out there.
Oh
So,
yeah, oh yeah.
because I don't believe in Ron Paul. I don't
No,
believe anyone can get.
if
I don't
if
believe anyone can get even close to being presidency without being involved
if
inside in the
if
club.
they're in the media, if they're in politics,
Hmm. They're in the club.
figure highest probability they're delivering crap.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're just not allowed to do anything else. So it's all
Nope.
controlled.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, they're speaking of Sandy Hook and they're blaming fake news. You know, they're using that now to say fake news, blah blah blah, and let Lenny Posner on there hiding his face.
Yep.
talking on the other end of Skype or a phone call or whatever, saying that anybody who says this should be arrested. And they've got some patsy. They showed some girl who got arrested.
Yep.
Okay,
I saw that and I
for
thought,
harassing. Yeah.
either she doesn't exist and they just
No,
made that out of whole
that's
cloth, or
that's a
they
Photoshop.
found somebody to pay to do it.
That's a created image. It looks like Adam Lanza as a girl. That's what it looks like. Almost.
Well, maybe
But
they took her picture and photoshopped it
yeah,
some.
made it into a girl. Gave her
I mean,
long
that,
hair. Yeah.
who knows? Who knows?
But they showed a picture of this Patsy, and apparently she's getting arrested. She got
Sure.
arrested for
Sure
harassment,
she
right?
is. Sure she
Asking
is.
questions, and then they put these little quotes that she said, the little snippets, right? Where it says the world will end. I don't know. It didn't say directly that she was going to kill him or he was going to die or anything. It just,
Right,
I don't
right.
even know. It's just ridiculous.
It was so vague that,
Yeah.
if you take this system seriously,
Mhm.
you might feel afraid to talk about anything except
Yeah.
maybe the weather.
Yeah.
And
And I saw that the Young Turks put out a real hit piece on Sandy Hook Truth as well, with their
yep,
little toilet mouth there, Anna, right?
yep. Oh
She's a
yeah,
toilet mouth. Did you see her
they're
with the fake Alex Jones staged thing where he came storming in on them?
no, I didn't see
See
it, but
that?
I heard some rumors
She
and
was just,
they were true.
yeah, she was swearing and everything and yelling at him. She was like a toilet mouth.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, we're supposed to take these people out, as our motivators and thinkers, right?
Right,
And they're total
right.
hypocrites. But anyway, they didn't debunk nothing either. They just said
No.
how bad, how dumb it was, if you even thought it was a fake. And right,
Yep.
how could you say that about dead kids? Well, no, they're not dead kids.
Yeah. Once you prove
There is no dead
once
kids.
you prove to me that
That's the
there's
point.
dead kids, I might change my tune. But
Yeah,
the
exactly.
fact that in all this time that's been the only thing that they've fallen back on, uh, you know, uh,
The only thing they can do, Amy, is
they
plead
they
to emotions because
they
that's the only
can't,
thing they have. They don't have any
they've
truth.
yeah, they've never made any effort to show that it was real.
No, no, they
None.
tore the school down before you could even, you
That's
know,
right.
and they
That's
tore his
right.
house down too, so there was no evidence. So
Yep.
best
Destroy
way to
the
just
evidence.
best way to get, yeah. I mean, and then they had their people there sign disclosure agreements when they're tearing the place down. So,
Yep.
they
And
couldn't
that's
talk about
just
what they didn't see, is what they didn't want them to talk about.
exactly.
No
They did.
blood, no bullet holes, no nothing. Just a
Yep.
bunch of furniture piled up against the walls in an old
Well,
rotten school.
just a school that had been closed down that was being used for storage, basically, is what we had going there.
Is that true, Matt? The more coke you do, the blacker your eyes get, he says.
I don't know if that's true, but I like it.
AJ and the Young Turks are one and the same. Pretty much. They're probably in the same network. They're under Time Warner, I bet.
Oh
And
yeah.
George Soros actually funds the Young Turds.
Well,
That's what I heard.
he funds all
Doesn't
sides of the
fund it, but
divide and conquer.
through a chain of companies, right, that are under the umbrella of the Tide. I think it's the Tides
Yeah.
Corporation or something like that. They're all the same thing. They're controlled opposition. They'll give you 80% truth and leave out the rest.
Yep.
Yeah, steer you down the wrong path for the other
And
20%.
hit you in the emotions.
Yeah, and plead on your emotions. Yeah.
I see that Michael Reznicki, with Reznicki, I hope I got that close. He wants us to talk about the Chattanooga bus crash. Now
I don't know anything about it.
well, I just watched Changing Reasons vid on this, and he does a lot of stuff that sure makes it look like what we've got is they took a bus that he showed a vid of a bus very similar being crushed for, going into the junk pile. And
Yes.
by golly, what they wound up with one crush looked exactly like what that bus looked like leaning up against the tree. And apparently this was a drill that went live. Gee, that never happens.
Wow.
So yeah, I'd
Another
have to
one.
give very high probability to its being faked.
Right.
Very high probability.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. Now, what do you think the agenda behind that is? That's probably just to get funding, hey? It's one of the
Well,
departments that
a
want
lot
funding,
of
so they do
a
it.
lot of people are talking about trying to get driverless vehicles. Well, of course, they'll start with things like the buses. Oh, we can't have a bus driver. He may be a nut or she may be a nut, and drive the bus into a tree and kill our children. So we need to have driverless
That's right.
vehicles. And
Right.
then down the line, there'll be other psyops to push us into, well, you can't drive a car. It's got to be a driverless car. Just wait.
Yeah. The
I'm sure
Johnny Cab.
that's in the agenda.
Somewhere I seen, I don't know if it was a video game or a movie, but I seen Johnny Cab, and they had a,
Right, that was in
what movie was that?
Total Recall.
Total Recall. Yeah. Johnny,
Yes.
yeah, Johnny
Well,
Cab.
well, I don't see any problems with having the option to have a driverless vehicle, but I'm pretty sure they want to entirely strip us
They
of,
want us out of our cars.
well,
Period.
or
They just
using
stack and
cars
pack.
using cars that they can completely control and track.
Well, they want us out of our cars because that's why they build bike lanes now, right? It's all about this green movement,
Well,
reducing
yeah.
the amount of carbon dioxide.
Well,
Whereas one of these elites planes spews more carbon dioxide than probably my whole city does in a year.
Well, and here's the thing about it. If you go and check the ice core samples, it turns out that every time the globe warmed, the CO2 levels went up after the warming period. They
Right.
had nothing to do
Do
with
with
the
the warming
warming.
period. It's just it's bunk science, and they've
Oh,
skewed
yeah.
and they've committed fraud and they've skewed the data, right, to get what they want.
Yep.
Because all it takes is you to buy. Anybody can be bought, right? So
Yep.
all you or coerced. Anybody can be both, right? So that's all it took when it came to that. But they say 93% of scientists agree, right? But that's 93% of their selected scientists
I
that
was just going
through
to
the
say, yeah.
UN, through the
Yeah.
UN,
Do,
right?
do you do
That's
you
not
agree with
93%
this?
of all scientists in the world.
Yeah.
That's 93% of their scientists that they selected,
Right. Do you
right?
agree with this? Okay, we'll use you do. Okay, we'll use yours
Oh,
as one of our scientists.
it was
But
actually a volunteered thing where they had
and
people think they had people that would apply to get involved in the study, right? And
yep,
you have to have, but they had young college kids and stuff, and it was like, what?
yeah. No,
What a
it
scam.
it's bunk statistics
If
too.
anybody's really interested in the whole climate change scam, I'm hearing an echo. You should go and watch Dr. Tim Ball. He's from Canada, and his name is Dr. Tim Ball, just how it sounds, Ball. And
Ah,
he does really fantastic work on exposing the climate change hoax. And
yeah. No,
he's a climatologist or a
right.
meteorologist or something like that.
Well,
Right?
and apparently, at least rumor has it that the satellite data all show that there is no net warming for at least
No,
20 years, and they're
no, we're in a
calling it
stagnant period.
they're calling it the pause, and they're
The pause.
mystified.
Yeah,
Well,
pause.
come on now, it's because it ain't happening.
Yeah, exactly. They've got no excuse anymore. They used to show commercials and all this stuff back in the 80s showing how, we'd be flooded and,
Yeah.
scaremongering, right? Fear mongering for to pay carbon taxes, right?
Yep.
So they
Yep.
can all be funneled back to them, right? Carbon tax is a huge
Taxes
scam.
tax us to breathe.
Yeah,
They've taxed our food, they've taxed our water, now they want
right.
to tax our air.
And what they also do is they make it so that companies have to pay so much in carbon credits and stuff like that that they drive out their competition, the
Yep,
lower guys, and the bigger guys get their little inside deals with their buddies, right? And
yep,
then the big companies are able to flourish, just like the power companies do.
yep. All about the money.
Yeah, and that's why you only have what? How many power companies can you choose from down there in your
Well,
area?
you're asking the wrong person. Being essentially homeless here,
Right.
I have no idea.
But there's
I don't
probably
pay
only
those
there's probably
bills.
only one or two, right? Or a handful maybe.
I would guess that there's at most two.
We only have one.
Yeah, and
One. BC
mostly
Hydro,
one.
and that's it,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So they have a monopoly on that, right? And that's how they do that.
Yep.
And that's what they want to do with the oil industry as well. They want to create a monopoly so only they make money, and all the
Well,
other little companies will be driven out by the high climate taxes.
well, I'll oh my gosh, I'm full of gook tonight. Um, I'm I'm uh, I'm going to be addressing some of these problems
Okay,
when
good,
I get to my portion of the
good.
universe here.
Yeah, because we were getting a little bit off topic. I can't even remember what we were talking about anymore.
Well,
We
we
were
were
talking about
talking about Pizzagate and then talking about the bus crash and how the psychopaths in control are creating a false reality for
right,
us,
right.
or trying to, but
Yeah,
most of
but
us
yeah.
are seeing through. I mean, a lot of us are seeing through it.
So all we can do is wait and see if the public really buys what the media is telling them anymore. We got to wait and find out how awake is the public now, right? After all of these Clinton scandals and all of this Trump stuff, and just like Zbigniew Brzezinski says, right? It's that their greatest challenge now is the political awakened masses.
Yep,
Okay, and they don't really know themselves. They're kind of riding the wave to see, how long it takes for people to wake up, I guess, right?
yep, yep,
And I'm not sure. I'm still holding my prophecy, though, that there will be no, this is your last president of the United States. Okay. I'm still holding my prophecy, and it's still, I'm still not proven wrong yet.
true. But
Okay.
you have until
Behind that was my
January
prophecy
20th.
that Obama is the 44th president, 45th term president, I believe.
Let's see.
Or
No,
no,
he's the 43rd
40,
man to be president,
and the
44th
44th
president.
term. Yeah,
And
right.
I don't know about the terms. I haven't chalked them up.
But anyway, he's the kill number. So,
Well,
and
yeah, but just
when
think
they
about it
drop the
this.
flag, they cut the flag in half in the iPet Goat. All you have to do is watch that iPet Goat video, and you'll see Obama sitting in a window, staring out the window while the American flag is flies away.
Yeah.
Okay, and that kind of tells me right there what they're planning. Okay,
Well,
they're planning
conceivably,
what I feel what they want to do is they want to be able to have the UN take control of all the NATO countries. Okay, they want to
oh
have a
yeah,
centralized law enforcement and judicial
centralized
system,
control mind.
and
Yes.
also executive branch. They want to have more of a centralized power, right? So
Yes,
they want to
yes.
use all this domestic things, all these shootings, all these bus crash, all these protests, fake protests, all this stuff
Yep.
to be able to justify onto the UN that we do need a global police force, right?
Right.
For one thing,
a
we also
global
need
a global
army on the street.
bullying force.
A army on the streets, and they can justify the police state at home, but they can also justify centralization of power.
Yep. Yep. Oh,
Okay,
I'm sure of
and
it.
have all of the countries under one. See, things will get so crazy in the political spectrum, which they already are, right? We're already at the point where we've got a shill Jill Stein here
Yep.
who wants to recount the votes and blah, 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 and all these other electoral people who are flip-flopping, right?
Yep.
They could be easily, A, bribed, threatened, or just
Set up for
realize now what they
blackmail.
don't want to or they don't want to tarnish their reputation somehow. Either one of those three scenarios, but they will, they could flip. And I watched a video yesterday on Tucker Carlson, believe it or not. I was watching this Fox clip,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking with the guy who's an electoral from Texas, and he's changing his vote. He doesn't want to vote for Trump, right? And he
Yeah,
says that we have the constitutional right to basically do whatever we want, and he basically said that the people really have no say. That's what he kind of said in a
true.
roundabout way, is that it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what the people think, it's what this final electoral vote mean is.
Yep. Yep.
So to me it seems like it's so chaotic, and all they got, we're only one false flag away from
Pretty much. Yeah.
a new world order, really.
Very true.
I mean, all it would take is it's another 9/11 type scenario, but even bigger, right?
Well, and
At a
I.
few cities around the world, and all the countries in the West will go, they'll all go
Oh
together and
no.
fight the turban heads in the desert, right?
Or
Right?
whatever. Yeah.
Or the ISIS, or the Syrians, or or the Russians, even. Who knows? Right?
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, they're you know about Albert Pike, right?
Oh yeah,
Okay. Now he called for
he
3 world
three
wars, right?
wars. Yep, he did.
And we've had 2 of them, and both of them have accomplished the goals he set out. So now
Yep.
we're just waiting for the third shoe to drop, I guess.
Yep. Season 3.
And I'm certainly hoping that I can uh, get some ideas out there that enough of us walk away from that whole system. But we'll get to that too.
Well, hey, Matt, I just noticed Matt was commenting here. One power company there in Edmonton. He's in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Wow.
Matt, I'm in Victoria, BC. I'm out on the island here. So, peace, brother, Canadian brother from a different mother. Hate to
uh,
find out it was the same mother.
yeah, really.
But yeah, so that's good. So, Pizzagate. So, where do you think this is all going? Where do you think this is leading us, Amy?
Well, I think it's leading us to a place where they get to decide what we can think about, see, hear about, talk about.
Yeah.
We can certainly talk to our neighbors, but
Total
information doesn't
control of the flow of
spread.
information.
Exactly.
Total
Exactly.
censorship.
Yep.
Chinese style internet.
Yep.
Where you got to log in with a government ID. You got to like register with the government to even use the internet.
Yep. I'm pretty sure
You have
that
to have
that's
an
where it's
internet
going.
license, so to speak.
Yep. And I don't think I want that.
Well, I
I'm
don't think anybody wants that. And I don't think they're going to get that, because I don't think that the people will allow them. I think that would be the final straw for people, where they'd say, what? I got to do what to go on the internet? What?
Yeah.
And that would totally like kick people in the pants, right?
Well, unless they manage to put forth some psyop that gave them, I mean, they're starting with the Pizzagate thing, using it to soften people up to the idea that somebody has to keep an eye on the internet. Okay.
Right.
And if they do enough psyops, or a particularly clever one, they might get enough people to go, oh, yes, please censor us. It will protect us. It will make us safe. Oh, jeez.
There is people out there, yeah, that will just do that. Oh, I just don't feel safe anymore. I'd rather them take control of it. I actually talked to a guy, and he says, well, I said, see, I was telling him that up here in Canada, we've got 3 major stations. We've got CBC, CTV, and there's another one, Global News. Okay. And all three of those, when they put on controversial topics on their YouTube channels, they disable the comment section.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've
Right.
seen.
And
You know,
you can't even voice your opinion on what they're presenting to you, right?
they'll do that,
Um,
or if they don't do that, they will go through and delete comments that they don't want on there.
that's right. And they're going to filter through, and they've also even created that YouTube Heroes thing, right, where people can sign up to snitch people on YouTube, snitch on people, and flag their videos, right? So if somebody's got a grudge against you, right, then just flag your
Yeah.
video
Yep.
if they're one of these heroes. What
Well,
they can see how they call it heroes, isn't that ridiculous? Like,
somebody made a suggestion. I signed up and I'm on Gab now. Amaterasu Solar, imagine that.
okay,
And
what's
somebody
that?
there suggested that we all go through all of the CNN videos and the
Yeah,
MSNBC videos and start flagging them as fake news.
that's right. You have every
Why
right to,
not?
but they
I
won't
mean,
even. They'll just unflag them probably.
yeah, they probably won't do anything about it and
Nothing.
pretend like we're not doing anything. But I'd still think that if enough of us keep doing that, they might get a
One
clue.
person can't do it, but everybody can do it,
Yeah,
right?
if everybody goes through and just, oh, fake news,
Flag
flag this,
everybody flag this
flag
video.
it, it's
It'd
fake
be
news.
yeah, it'd be a flag bomb instead of a truth bomb.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right. Flag bomb their damn
yeah,
lies.
yeah.
Because,
Well, we did a
yeah,
truth bomb on the Young Turks. I haven't checked what the
yeah,
score is now. It was,
I did go in there, but somebody was saying that they had been deleting a lot of the
yeah, mine was gone.
shall we say negative? It's not positive comments for
Yeah,
for the claiming the BS of it. Uh,
yeah,
they've been deleting a lot of those.
yeah. Of course they did.
I do know that the thumbs down number that I was witnessing, when I saw who was it that I saw the truth bomb on their channel. I
It
know
was
it was initiated at PK's channel,
yeah,
but I
Robin
saw it on
the world. I think.
I no, I don't think it
No,
was
truth
on
bomb is truth virus.
Truth. It must have been Truth Virus. Yeah, I
Yeah, he
saw it
did.
there, and when PK did the truth bomb thumbs down in his vid, it was like at 200 and something, and when I went there, it was at 900 and something, but they
Right.
still had a lead of like around 2,000 thumbs up, so we had a
Yeah.
ways to go.
Yeah, but still, though, it's like I just said to some shill on there. I just said, you can't tell me you haven't had 1 hour in the last 4 years to look up Sandy Hook hoax in Google. Google Sandy
Yeah,
Hook hoax. Give me a break.
yeah, it's
Because all
pretty.
you have to actually, you only need 5 minutes, okay, of watching one, Robbie Parker,
Yes.
two, the Photoshop photo they presented with the kid's fingers missing and crap, with no legs.
Yep. Yep.
Three, uh, the sloppy sniper, what's his name? Wheeler,
David
David Wheeler.
Wheeler. Yeah.
Three, and what was the other one I was thinking of?
Oh, there's so many.
Oh,
The
yeah.
watch the
Oh, the
aerial
firehouse, walking in circles in and out of the doors of the firehouse. That's
and
four little
and
clips, and that would
and,
take you about 15 minutes to go through that.
and they've counted those
You can be
trees in the
thoroughly
back of the
convinced
firehouse, and there are
that something
26 of
is
them.
not right with this thing.
And if you pay attention to all of that video, you never once through the whole day see a single ambulance down at the school ever.
No, there isn't. No,
And
and
I'm
there's
sorry, I can't believe that you've got all these dead kids in this school, and everybody's going to go, sooner or later we'll drag them up to the firehouse to get them
yeah.
to the hospital.
Oh man.
Nobody was going up and down that road in a
No, it was
vehicle.
blocked off.
Yeah.
It
So
was
now,
completely clogged up. They even had
how,
the triage mats over in the middle of the road, like on the roadway out. Like, and there
yes,
was nothing on the triage mats.
no,
And there was
no.
cars lined up the wrong way in the parking stalls.
Yeah, every car pulled in the same direction,
In a
except
straight
I think there
direction.
was one that pulled in the other way.
Yeah, or
You
something. Yeah,
know,
a
it's like, oh
latecomer.
my gosh, that
Yeah,
no, people don't park like that. That's
no,
not how they do it.
like Fetzer said last week. He said there was, or the other week, he said there's no, or last week wasn't it? Yeah, there
Yeah,
was no handicap stall in the front in
nope,
school.
nope. There was,
That car that was registered to apparently quote unquote Ryan Lanza, which it turned out not to be,
yeah. Well, actually, I think it was supposed to
registered
be
to
registered
a local
Nancy,
yokel. It was
and
a
it was,
local yokel guy who'd been in trouble with the police, and he'd been in and out of
yes,
the county jail there for his whole life.
yep,
And they set him up as a patsy as the car or whatever, right?
yeah,
Now
something. I don't
maybe
know what
Aaron
the
is
deal
right.
is.
You know, Aaron could be right here, where he does say, "Well, I still think somebody did die."
I
In the
don't.
curtain, somebody died. Okay, that's basically what he's trying to say. Is because they demand it.
Well,
It
I
has to
think,
be a real sacrifice in order for them. See, and I truly believe. Now, I don't know if I've ever told you this, Amy, but the it's not Quetzalcoatl. It's the feathered serpent. I can't remember what its
yeah,
name is.
that's
The temple of the
Quetzalcoatl.
feathered serpent.
That should be
Okay,
Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl, right? And
Quetzalcoatl.
that's the name of that old deity, isn't it?
Yes, well, it's
Yes,
A Mayan god.
God. Yeah,
Yes.
okay. And so they have this temple in Mexico, right? The temple of the feathered serpent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this ley line that goes right from there straight across Sandy Hook.
Yep. Yep.
It's right there. It's on the same ley line as that temple is. And I truly believe that they send off negative energies through death and violence through the energy grid. Like everything goes through the energy grid, and then it's dissembled throughout the world,
Right.
right?
Disseminated. Yes.
And through computer cables and through ley line, things like that, right? That's how
Yep.
our energy, what we put out, is dissembled and brought to where it's attracted to, right?
Right.
So you create a nice piece of artwork that looks really weird. Okay, it's like a naked lady with a lizard or a, let's say, a salamander rear, right? Half and half human, half salamander. It looks super creepy, but somebody out there will like it.
Yep.
There's always someone in the world that's going to go, "Wow, that's amazing," because they really like creepy things.
Yeah.
Right? Some people are fascinated by the whole shock of creepy things, right? So it's like a hobby to them to create to collect creepy stuff, right?
Right.
Just like in that warehouse there, the fire in the warehouse, they had all this really creepy stuff. Okay, these artwork were really, really demonic. There was picture. I was looking
Well,
for the Baphomet. I didn't see it in the end, but there was everything else. The kitchen
and
sink, except
and
the
even
kitchen sink.
the artwork involved with Pizzagate. You know, whether I mean,
Yes.
Olifantas said something to the effect that,
Yeah.
oh, nobody liked it. We painted it over 5 years ago. Where's the proof it was 5 years ago? They could have done it last week. You
Yes.
know,
And
it
the
looked to me,
energy. Yeah. Go ahead.
it looked to me like the some, you know, they hadn't. It it looked like it had been painted over and they hadn't done anything with it yet again. And if it was 5 years ago, I wouldn't expect all these blank walls.
Yeah.
You know, you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
they'd put a poster up or something. But
What's the sex stains video truth bomb?
uh, huh?
Matt in the chat here, he's saying you guys should have said or seen, I guess, the sex stains video truth bomb. It was awesome.
Oh,
What's the sex stains?
yeah, I don't know anything about
You talk
that.
about Bill Clinton? I mean, that comes to mind when you mention that.
Yes, I did
Anyway,
not
so
have.
the fake news and the fake news. And now, so Melissa Melton put out a really good video there where they're actually calling for measures. They're actually calling for legislation to
Yep.
censor the internet as well. It's not just and it's not just the corporations, right? Like Facebook and all that. It's not just them. It's they're actually, congressmen are considering it now.
Yep. Yep.
So it's been
And
brought to another level now where it's like, holy crap, right?
right. I've got a lot of memes that I'm looking forward to putting out on Gab, but right now nobody can, unless you're a selected few, nobody can put out images yet. But on Twitter, I'm still putting out my memes, and let me find the one that my latest meme that I created. It says, I am the arbiter of what I believe and need no other to tell me what I must believe. No other has the right to do so, nor to tell me what I may not consider. I do not consent to censoring anyone.
Hmm.
And that's in response to the pedogate psyop.
Hmm.
Take the ability to do that, to be your own arbiter of what you encounter.
Well, to
To
me,
dis-
Pizzagate is the psyop, but pedogate is that's opening up a big door.
well, okay, I see what you're
That's
saying.
more or
Yeah,
less the real psyop of it all
the
is
the
pedogate,
real
the real
foundation. The
conspiracy,
foundation
the real conspiracy, right?
is pedogate
Is
with
pedogate
Pizzagate as the psyop.
as the
Put
psyop
mixing some truth with some.
with lies. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, I
exactly.
see. That'll
Yeah,
work.
giving you 60% truth and mixing the rest with lies. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, just
You know,
to make you mad enough that you're
yeah.
going to start talking about it and you're going to get inflamed. It's going to light you up. It's going to
Yep.
start making you make videos. It's going to start the whole conversation, and it's going to be the biggest distraction of the year.
Yep.
Right?
I keep thinking going
I mean, we
back
got to
to.
look outside of the box, or else we're screwed because
Yep.
we're
Well,
falling into the paradigm. We're going with we're
that's
falling.
why I'm going to be introducing a new paradigm.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, we should probably start getting into that. I guess I'm not
Okay, well,
sure when Aaron's going to be here. Hopefully, he shows up pretty soon.
one
I'm
thing I
sure.
did want to do before we did that was to go back to the whole gosh. Alephantis says it's bunk, so it must be concept. Does that mean from now on, if you murder somebody and tell them you didn't, you're just
Just
going to be
believe you.
believed?
No, they just
oh,
believe you.
oh,
Of
you
course.
didn't murder anybody? Okay, we don't have to investigate. Thanks. Have a nice
Thanks.
life.
Yeah.
Come on.
Okay. Thanks for your testimony. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just ridiculous. Come
It
on,
is. It
people.
is.
People, wake up, man. You're
Okay.
being played. If you're still pushing Pizzagate, saying that it's it deserves an investigation, and there won't be. That's the whole point
Yes.
here. Is that okay? Fine. We have to have an investigation, but it's
Right. Right.
we will never get that. Like David
No.
Icke, like I said, David Icke was screaming from the rooftops 2 decades ago, guys,
Yep.
talking about all of the circles and their child trafficking. They got sex dungeons, and
Oh yeah.
you can't even imagine where this thing goes. Epstein's Island is just like that's what they
Yeah.
want you to know about, right? They
Yeah.
want you to know about that because
That's.
if you were to
It's
go there, you wouldn't find anything, right? You just find some
well.
resort, right?
You might find something, but only if you knew where to look.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm going
To
to guess there
get to
is
that point,
something.
it would never even happen. These
Yeah.
people run the show, so there's no
Yep.
way there's ever going to be a true investigation. Same with Trump and his 9/11. Yeah, whatever. There's never going to be an investigation. They say there will be, but they never will.
No. No.
No.
Not at all.
Especially if they do, they'll just blame Saudi Arabia, right? And Qatar. They'll blame the low end countries, the dispensable ones, right?
Yep.
But they'll never blame Israel. They'll never blame England for this.
Nope.
They
Nope.
all had a hand in it. France probably too.
Oh yeah, no, it's a planetary problem. Psychopaths in control. You know, a
Yeah,
lot of
we're just led to
people.
believe, oh, it was
You know,
Israel.
people.
No, no. Well, it was Israel, yeah, but it was also a lot of other different countries too.
It's
That
it,
were all
it. Well, it's not the countries even really.
because it doesn't represent the countries do either. The
All
countries
the
did not do it.
countries are controlled by the same psychopaths.
Yeah, the Rothschilds. That's who
Well,
they are.
and I don't
We
even know
have to
that
call it for a spade a spade.
it's the Rothschilds, but that there isn't somebody above the Rothschilds that we don't know about.
Well, of course there is. There's aliens above them. We're
Well,
being run by freaking aliens. There's people coming out and saying it, and we're calling like we're overlooking what they're saying because it's so
right.
outlandish to hear.
But
You don't want to hear
clearly,
it.
if the aliens are on the psychopath side, they're psychopathic aliens,
Exactly.
right?
Well, they can't be considered psychopathic because they're probably genetically reptilian.
Well, it doesn't matter that
They're probably fully like not fully
they
reptilian, but
are
they're probably
they
fully
choose
right-brained type of.
they choose psychopathic behavior. That's how I define a psychopath, and I don't think it matters what race of being you are. If you're choosing your behavior psychopathically, you are a psychopath. Whether, you know,
Right.
human, uh, Syrian, whatever. Aaron says he'll be here in about 35 minutes.
Cool. So you heard it from him. Good.
Yeah, I got a message from him here, and he
All
said
right.
5 minutes.
Good stuff. 35 minutes.
So
Okay.
anyway, we
So anyway,
we want to. Do you want to start with the TAP, the abundance
yeah.
paradigm?
You want to take a couple minute break, or do you want to run out and
Yeah.
have a quick smoke?
Why don't we take a couple minute break
We'll
and
take till the top of the hour, and then we'll start in on your discussion.
on
Okay.
TAP? You're it.
Tag.
Okay.
Spotlight's on you.
All right. We'll be back
All right.
shortly.
So we'll be back, guys, in a few minutes. Just hang tough. I'll probably find a video or something to play. So.
All right. I'll be back, and I'll wave in the somewhere to let you know.
Sounds good.
The lethality of their power is greater than ever. Their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. I once put it rather pungently, and I was flattered that the British Foreign Secretary repeated this, as follows. Namely, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people, literally. It was easier to control 1 million people than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1,000,000 people than to control 1,000,000 people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1,000,000 people than to control 1,000,000 people. It's easier to kill than to control. And of course, that bears directly on the use of force, particularly by societies that are culturally alien over other societies.
So I just got a comment from Aaron. He just sent me a text. And he said, so you asked where the pizza thing is going. He said 1984 style censorship. And that's probably pretty much rounds it off right in a nutshell. Basically have a big brother system in place to decide what you should see and what you shouldn't see and what's good for you and what's not good for you. So that was a clip from Zbigniew Brzezinski, as you are pretty aware. I showed on there. So. Well, I hope I'm doing good without Aaron, because it's feeling kind of awkward right now. It's like when Wayne and Garth are both together and then they're not together. It's like right, yeah. Hi, Amy. Are you back?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, thank goodness. Anyway.
Are we ready to start?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I had a few points. I guess just go ahead and describe your. Yeah, just go ahead, Amy.
Just start in. Okay.
Yeah, well, tell us, what it is that you want, right, and the system that you want, and how you came to this how you came to this point.
Well,
and what were some triggering points in your development of this is kind of what I'm interested in as well.
Okay, well, basically when I was very small, quite young, I noticed that the way they said the world worked and what I was seeing didn't seem to fit. In other words, the way they said the world worked did not explain what I saw. And I have spent my life trying to figure out why that was. And when it turns out that although I had little snippets of memory, I didn't really remember what these snippets were related to until much later when I ran across the term electrogravitics. And then suddenly all these memories started pouring in and filling in these, the little snippets filled out. And I realized that my father had been involved in working on electrogravitics with T. Townsend Brown, which led me to realize that I started remembering wanting him to tell me bedtime, not a bedtime story, not read a book, but tell me about what the world was going to look like because of his work. And he said, well, cars would fly. We'd have flying cars, and cities would float in the sky, and we would have all the energy we could use. And it was going to be a glorious future that I would grow up because of what he was doing with this electrogravitics. And I had a memory of him coming home to tell me something, and suddenly I remembered what it was. He came home to tell me that we could not talk about his work anymore. He would before this, he would come home and all excited and tell us about the experiments and what they had done and what they were finding and what they were getting things to do, gravity control and free energy.
Right.
Drawing energy from the ether.
Right.
Which you don't find in Einsteinian physics, which I am certain was introduced to hide the free energy, the sea of energy that we swim in, that we could have access to anytime, anywhere. They didn't want us to know about it, and I'm going to be going into the intimate relationship between money and energy. But he was getting all this stuff, and when he came home, he said, we can't talk about my work anymore to anyone, period, anywhere. And that we couldn't even say the word electrogravitics. We couldn't talk about the flying cars. We couldn't talk about the floating cities. We couldn't talk about the free energy.
So what is what is it called? Electrophonetics?
Electrogravitics.
Gravitics. So can you explain, like, what is that?
Well, I have a piece on my forum, tapurit.boards.net, spelt with an E in there, Youreit, TAPYOUREIT.boards.net, which goes into electrogravitics a little, as deeply as I've been able to get into it, not
Right.
being into it, just having this experience with my father. But basically, if you have a high K dielectric that is nonlinear, with the smaller end towards a small negative electrode and the larger end towards a very large positive electrode, and you run high voltage through this, you will basically create a separate gravity field, and the whole unit will start falling in the direction of the positive electrode.
Okay, now
this gravity field.
Now I know you're pretty open-minded to flat Earth concepts and whatnot, right?
Well, let's put it
it's
this
not
way.
even
I
really,
was open to it.
Here. It's more or less, is gravity in question here? Okay.
Well,
because it could be either or, right? It could be just the electromagnetic grid that's pulling and pushing like magnetic energy.
Well, there is a relationship.
Like whatever force it is, right?
Yeah, there is a relationship between the electro. That's why it's called electrogravitics.
That's right. Yeah.
There's a relationship there.
It's
not the same thing. Whatever it is that we are calling gravity is an aspect of magnetogravitics.
Forces pushing and pulling against
there's three elements, and I recommend that you throw out all your Einsteinian physics out the window and look into subquantum kinetics by Dr. Paul A. Laviolette.
Right. Yeah.
That will give you a much better picture of what I think is going on, because when he first developed subquantum kinetics, he was predicting what T. Townsend Brown called the Biefeld-Brown effect, which is this tendency to fall towards the positive pole.
Okay.
And at first he thought he messed up. It's like, wait a minute, what is this? That doesn't make any sense. And then he discovered T. Townsend Brown's work in electrogravitics and went, well, duh, he's showing experimentally what I'm predicting with subquantum kinetics.
Okay.
And in fact, subquantum kinetics predicts all of the, quote, mysteries that show up in the Einsteinian perspective. It does not, there's no curvature of time and space, and, there's none of that. It's all very Euclidean, in fact.
Linear or
yeah, pretty much linear.
Yeah. Okay.
But he can still predict everything that Einsteinian physics predicts, plus all the things that it's not predicting, but we're seeing evidence for.
Really? Okay. All right.
Yes. So
this was really important work then. This was like high-end government work. Like.
Oh yes. The work went above top secret.
Okay. All right.
My dad's work went above top secret.
Where were you? Like, where did you end up growing? Like, what area?
San Diego. My dad worked for Convair. It got changed to General Dynamics Convair division or something like that later on, but it was Convair initially when I was growing up.
Were they a military industrial complex style business? Or
aerospace.
Aerospace. So it was military industrial more or less.
Well, they dealt with the military industrial complex, yes.
Right. Okay.
So
I'm just trying to figure out, what your dad did.
he was an electrical engineer.
Okay.
And programmer.
He just had a disclosure that he couldn't say nothing.
Right. Well, he could initially, but then they clamped down on it when they suddenly realized that the free energy was coming out.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, no, we can't have that. And
okay. So anyway, your dad, he wouldn't let you talk about it at home, right? Because he was warned to not talk about what they were doing at work.
Right.
So he kind of led a double life, so to speak.
Well, after that night, yeah.
Yeah.
Because apparently, they'd had a discussion at his work telling him, okay, it's gone above top secret. I mean, we're clamping down on this like you wouldn't believe. And in fact, we didn't have a TV at our house because my parents believed that we should learn to entertain ourselves without it, which I'm very grateful to them for. But I went over to my cousin's house sometime after the discussion about how we couldn't talk about it anymore, and I saw the Jetsons, and I saw the flying cars and the floating cities and things, and I said to my cousin, we can do that. We can make the flying cars. And my dad, who was in the next room, stuck his head into the doorway, didn't say a word, but gave me a look like you wouldn't believe.
Like, don't talk about that.
Like, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm not saying anything more.
Next topic.
Yep. Yeah. So, at any rate, but the Jetsons was based on that work. They basically told us about it. You know how they do. They tell us about things in their shows and cartoons and whatever. They were telling us about it, but in a way that we wouldn't believe it was real.
Right.
So at any rate, then I wound up in banking as a career initially before I spent 14 years in banking, and I began to get a really good feel for the flow of money. And one day, I still hadn't put it together until about 8 and a half years ago, I for some reason I had never picked up Entropy by Jeremy Rifkin. It came out in 1980, but I hadn't picked it up until about, like I said, eight and a half years ago. And I read it, and when I hit the point where, well, actually, these were let me bring it up here. I've got it. It should be in this. Every time we add our labor to a product or perform a service, we expend energy and increase the overall entropy of the environment. Every time we exchange money for a product or a service, the legal tender we use represents payment for previous energy that we expended. Money, after all, is nothing more than stored energy credits. And when I read that paragraph, I realized, it just all fell into place in my head. Money is accounting for human energy added into the system that accounts for human energy and moves the bulk of the wealth on this planet to very few people.
Right. And when you think about it, that makes a lot of sense because it's the flow of money, right? And it's actually it's going in a direction, and it's something moving, right?
Well,
So in a kinetic sense, that does sort of make sense, right?
Well, it's called currency, right?
Yeah, because it's related to water, right? Which is what Jordan Maxwell goes. Me and Aaron were talking about this last night, where that's how they get all these terms, right? Is because water represents the money, right?
Yep.
And the flow of money, the river bank, right? What controls money is a bank, right? They control the flow of the money, right?
Yep.
It goes into the banks, and then it's distributed through the banks and whatnot, or they keep the money, they hold the money as credit for the creditors. But that's where they get these terms from, right? River bank,
yep.
current,
currency,
sea, and how the river goes into the sea. So it's your current riverbank, current sea. You see?
Well,
the bank, the current sea.
Yeah.
Right? So all of these terms are concocted through this whole idea of water,
absolutely,
flow of money.
Or flow of energy, really. Because,
and when
electricity
you look at it, it's almost like an energy.
Flow of energy.
Because it's a thing almost. It's what you put out. And
yes.
it affects everything, whatever you put out, right? So
well, that's your creative energy, and they have bound that creative energy in this system of money, requiring you to plug your energy in somehow, even if you absolutely loathe it, so that you can survive. And that's how they keep power over us, because all they have to do if we get out of line is take our ability to plug our energy into the system to survive.
Yeah.
Okay. This is another excerpt from his work, Entropy. And I'm quoting this from my piece. I included it in my piece called The End of Entropy, which you might want to read at my site in the Abundance Paradigm Foundational Writings. Energy is the basis of human culture, just as it is the basis of life. Therefore, power in every society ultimately belongs to whoever controls the exosomatic or external instruments that are used to transform, exchange, and discard energy. Class divisions, exploitations, privilege, and poverty are all determined by how a society's energy flow line is set up. Those who control the exosomatic instruments control the energy flow line. They determine how the work in society will be divided up and how the economic rewards will be allocated among various groups and constituencies. Now, of course, this is all contingent on accounting for the energy. If you add free energy, that control dissipates. That's why they don't want us to have free energy. Okay?
Right. That's why.
So, as in fact in my article I write, given this, it becomes clear that if such an infinite available negentropic source of energy were to be introduced, power over others would give way to individual autonomous power over self, but no others. Now that's the definition of freedom, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Because right now, with the money system, we are wage slaves, debt slaves. We have to.
Right.
We can't. We can't just plug our energy in to whatever interests us. We have to plug our energy into something, anything, so I can feed my face and my
Right.
family's face.
Right.
On and
Right.
on.
No, yeah, exactly. Okay. But that leads me to the point I was gonna try to get at tonight, where
Mm-hmm.
it's it's the whole point of where how would you get people to change, to get out of their comfort zone that we're in right now, to get out of the system that we're in, because nobody really wants to get out of their comfort zone, right?
Well,
And it's almost like a leap of faith to go from,
here's the
but I
thing.
want you to explain more about what it is, because we're not really explained too much yet, right? So
Well, I like I said, I have an outline here.
yeah, but
Of
I do want to get into that at the end, if after you explain the
well,
concept.
it may take a while to get through it.
That's okay. We got time. We're waiting for Aaron.
All right, all right. Well, here's the thing: if you explain to them that they will be able to lead lives that are as rich as they choose. They will not have to go to a job, but instead can do what they want, input their energy as they choose, as opposed to being forced to find some way to put their energy in any way they can.
Okay, now that might be appealing to middle class and lower class people, but that
Well,
wouldn't be appealing to rich people who have a
well,
lot of money right now.
no, they've already got their leisure and industry of
That's right. They've already got lots of free time,
but
and they've
but
got
but the thing is, we don't need to appeal to them. If enough of us go this route, that's the way it will go.
yeah, that would cause a lot of friction between the upper and lower class people. So
Well, the thing
in a
is,
sense, because
the only thing it takes from the upper class, because they'll still be able to live with leisure and industry of interest.
right,
We're not
but they
taking
won't.
that away from them. The
Some
only
people live
thing,
off power, though. They live off being
well,
in
I
power.
understand that, and those are the psychopaths that are in
That's right.
control.
That's what I mean. The psychopathic elite types. Yeah, the
So,
company CEOs of the big companies and stuff.
yeah,
Right?
but they are a lot less than us now, aren't they? There's a lot more people who would live vastly better than them. I mean, than their numbers, right?
Right.
Vastly more, like on the orders of billions to one, close to it, maybe only hundreds of millions to one. But the people that we need to reach are not these people. We need to reach the people who want this better life. Well,
Right.
that sounds like that's not going to be that tough if they manage to wrap their head around the fact that they won't have to go slogging their way into a job. And most of the jobs on this planet are unnecessary. They are
Yeah.
they are in place to make the flow of wealth move to these psychopaths at the top.
Well, yeah. If you just look at a simple thing like parking tickets, okay, that's an unnecessary thing. Okay, it's
Yes.
just a cash cow, right? It's just
Well,
it's
and
to funnel money from us working people right, into the hands of psychopaths.
Well, and that's just yeah,
Like you
there are a
said.
lot of functions that do that. But for example, jobs we don't need, cashiers, their only purpose is to move that money. Sales, their only purpose is to move that money. Advertising, their only purpose is to move that money.
And it's usually people just on the
Marketing,
internet advertising anyway, right?
well, in fact, what would happen if we got rid of the money on this planet is that spam will pretty much go away. Where's the point?
What's the point? Yeah.
Okay. Uh, uh, Defrauding will pretty much go away. Why bother to defraud somebody of some object they have when you can go out and get your
no
own?
point in frauding. Like there's just without money,
Exactly.
there's no point in even committing fraud, right?
As you know the saying that the love of money is the root of all evil, right?
Well,
What is
yeah. I mean,
what is the soil in which the root grows?
well, I
Money.
mean, it's lust and psychopathy, really. Like I
Well,
think lust for power is what everybody desires, right? It's our desire
not
to be the best.
not
and be the top
everybody.
opinion,
In
right?
fact, most people desire something other than power over others. Now that is a primary psychopath's trait, to
God, I wish
have
Aaron was in
power.
on this right now. I wish Aaron was in on this right now because I know we were talking about this before. You have a lot of things to say
Oh, I'm sure he'll
about the
he'll
root
come
of
in.
all evil and stuff like that. So,
Well, I
anyway.
I believe that if we remove the soil, that the people on this planet who are choosing unethically out of desperation, the people who stick you up on the street, the people who try to get little old ladies to send their life savings in, that sort of thing.
Murder rates would completely drop. It'd be like
Oh yeah,
0.005.
yeah, there would,
It
yes,
would completely drop. I mean, we're talking about
the only thing that this cannot solve for is interpersonal relationships.
right.
If you're a really
Personal problems. Yeah.
if you struggle to control your behavior and you see your lover in bed with somebody else, okay, you might commit a murder. But
every time I see a stockbroker jump out of a window, I think, well, this wouldn't happen if there was no money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, people wouldn't be jumping out of windows if there wasn't such thing as a debt slavery, right?
Precisely.
Exactly.
There's, like I said, virtually all evil will be, what we call evil. These unethical behaviors will vanish. Because what happens when you take the money away, that is the only tool that the psychopaths have to move large numbers of people the way they want them to. I'll pay you. I'll set you up for blackmail by paying somebody to do things with you and take pictures of it or whatever. I will pay somebody to threaten you. I will pay somebody to ruin you. I will pay somebody to kill you. Because they don't do these things personally. You take that money away from them and they have to do it personally.
Right.
And they really don't want to do it personally. They because there seems to be something where they would have to then actually take responsibility. If they pay somebody else for it, well, they didn't do it. Right?
Right.
The person they paid to do it did it. In essence, they get the karma or whatever, if you want to go that route. I really don't know what their
well, in the upper echelons of the secret societies, that's what it's all about. It's all about relieving your own karma. Because if you say, that's why they always get people to kill each other, right? Is because they don't suffer the karma. They don't get the karma. It relieves them of their karma, and they also justifies onto the creator, right?
Yep.
Because they're being allowed to do it
So
without
now they're
being burned in a lake of fire. You know what I mean?
they're faced with having to do these things themselves, and pardon me, the only power that they will have over others is their personal charisma. And let's face it, that's not going to get any of them very far. Yeah, they might get a little cult going, but as soon as they start creating problems by virtue of behaving unethically, they're going to get noticed. And many people are going to say, oh no, we're just going to lock you up because you're creating problems by choosing unethically. And, you know, we don't want that around. And that's basically going to be their choice. Stay within the 3 laws of ethics or get locked up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, exactly. And it will be dealing with individuals, not with corporations, governments, you know, whatever other organizations that, you know, you can think of that are supported by the money system.
Right.
This is why,
pretty much everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing, even churches, like even everything.
Yes. You know, as far as it goes relative to churches, there won't be any collection plates, but it will be a gathering of people who truly believe that particular way of looking at it. And, you know, I have absolutely, you know, I really don't care what anyone else believes. I care about the behavior they choose.
Yeah.
Because that's what creates in this world.
That's what it's all about, right? Yeah, exactly.
So you can believe that this group of people should be eradicated off the planet all you want.
Well, yeah,
just don't do anything about it.
Yeah, just keep thinking that.
Yeah, go ahead. Believe that all you want.
Think it all you want. Believe it all you want.
Think it all you want.
Yeah.
Don't lift a hand to do it. That's unethical.
Yeah. So yeah.
So, I'm going to be waiting to get started on my.
Actually, just heard from Aaron, and I just gave him the link, so he should be here shortly.
Awesome.
That's good news. You made it home safe and sound.
Yay! Glad to hear that.
You should be joining us any second here, but yeah, just keep going. I'm really interested in more of the concept of it. So
well, I guess one thing
like who would my question is like who you still have to have a governing body of people.
No, well,
you still have to have a police.
No,
because
no,
you have to have
no. Let me tell you that when I get to my outline, I'm going to deal with government versus governance. Okay, I think I mentioned that. Yes, we will govern ourselves bottom up by reporting problems over the web, either as emergencies or general problems. And if there are emergencies, people can have like a phone app or something. Getting in here. Hey, Aaron.
Hi, Amy.
Oh, we got a loud echo here.
Yeah, big time.
It'll clear up. It always does that when somebody joins in.
Oh, okay. Okay.
How you doing, Aaron?
I'm good. I'm tired as hell. I've had one hell of a day today.
Aw.
I bet.
Hey, I've been listening to you guys on the ride home. You're doing a pretty good job. A little bit of a struggle on your topic at the beginning of the show, but you guys you're doing pretty well. And I was listening almost the entire way, except for the last few minutes when I just walked into the house, and just as I turned my computer on, and logged in, and I heard you just as I got my computer onto your page and was starting to listen again. I heard you say something like, "God, I wish Aaron was here," and part of this conversation. What were you guys talking about just a few minutes ago?
Oh God, now I got to remember.
Yeah, really. Something about the abundance paradigm.
I remember Ian brushed it on the conversation that he and I had last night on the telephone. I was actually in a hotel in South Carolina last night, and
Right.
Ian and I got on the Jordan Maxwell bandwagon. We were chatting about Jordan for a little while, and I'm pretty well versed in the corporate, the maritime banking corporate language that is used to define not only money, but humans, human energy, human products, and how it all relates to the same language that we use to define, as you guys you briefly touched on, a river has, it's full of water, obviously. It flows, money flows. A river has current. We have, the river goes out to the sea, so we have currency. The river is held in place by banks, and that's where our currency is held in place, by the way.
It's controls the flow of it, yeah.
Yep.
And I was talking to Ian that, and I know that he knows a lot of this, maybe not as well versed as I, or perhaps, and I'm not as well versed as Jordan Maxwell, of course. But when you're born, you have there are two entities are created. One is the living, breathing human that is, each one of us, and then there's another entity that's created on your behalf, which is a dead corporate entity, otherwise known as the straw man. Yeah.
Or as I call it, the name corporation.
Right. And that's your name in all capital letters that a lot of us have heard about.
Now, you guys, that's under the U.S.
UCC.
Corporation, United States, and then the USA is different, right? Because the United States of America is the sovereign nation, and the U.S. is the corp.
Yeah, the United States is a corporation.
And when you see the golden tasseled and golden lined flags, right? That represents you're in the corporate quarters, right?
It's the United States of America Corporation.
Right.
Well, isn't it the U.S. Corporation and then the United States of America nation name? I heard there was a difference.
I think the difference is simply one is America and the other is the United States of America, which is when we became a corporate entity.
Right. That's
okay.
Yes.
So when you're born, a corporate entity is created on your behalf, and then throughout your life you are fooled into representing that corporate entity in the form of acquiescence to the name that is in all capital letters.
Right.
Yep.
So like I was telling Ian, that you are a corporation.
No, I'm not.
Well, not you, Amy. In general, you are a corporation, and that is why when you die, you are a corpse. And that is why when you have friends over for dinner and the phone rings, you say, "I can't talk right now, I have company."
Yep.
And then when somebody says, "Well, that guy you have over for dinner, he's not a very good guy," and you say, "That's none of your business." Well, business, corporate, corpse, company, we're talking about commerce here. This is all about the flow of money. This is commerce. And when you're driving, for instance, at least in this country, we have the freedom to travel, and yet somehow we are tricked into having a driver's license, which is your name in all capital letters, which is the corporate you, which in turn relates back to doing commerce. And I was telling Ian that when you're in a court of law, that a judge will ask you, "Well, were you driving?" And you say, "Yes, I was driving from here to there, blah, blah, blah," and officer pulled me over. And, "Well, you've just admitted to doing business, because if you're driving, that word under Black's Law Dictionary actually means you are doing commerce. You are being paid to drive a good or service from one location to another. You are doing commerce, and so therefore you're subject to the corporate maritime banking taxation.
UCC code. Yeah.
Can I say something here?
Sure.
My approach to all that stuff is that I didn't consent to any of that when I was born. I don't consent to it now.
Right.
And I am sovereign upon my planet. I may move about freely and conduct myself as I see fit,
Right.
unless I'm breaking the 3 laws of ethics, which I consent to.
Okay, now this brings up a topic that I've been thinking about a lot. Is the guy there? I seen a video of a guy. He was in the Midwestern states and he was fishing, and he didn't have a fishing license. So they pulled him into court, and he was this real off the grid hillbilly type of guy, and he was saying, they were saying, "Are you Daniel whatever?" And he says, "Yeah, if that's the name you've given me, sure." But he never answered the question, and he said, "I don't recognize this court, this corporation, this court under the corporation and all this stuff." He's saying exactly what you're saying, Amy.
Yeah.
Where he's a sovereign, I am a sovereign being
upon my planet, which was stolen.
And I have a natural God-given right to forage for food.
Yep.
With or without a license. What the corporation here calls a license, he says. And I don't recognize this court.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
I am not here of
and he
my
got
own
in
free
contempt of
will.
court. Right. He got in contempt of court. He got charged for contempt of court. Okay.
Okay, so they
don't allow
to
you to
bully
try to beat their system, right?
Well, they will bully you. But what the thing is that I would say, rather than refusing them, it's very simple, because that creates controversy in their eyes. You say, "Oh, I'd be very happy to be subject to that if you prove I am subject." And then if they try to bully you, you explain, "Well, you do not dispute that some people can be bullies. You are perfectly willing to accept that statement. But all they're proving by bullying you is that some people can be bullies. Please prove I'm subject." Now, that may or may not work, and they may or may not decide to be bullies. But if all of us are doing that, believe me, they will not have any power.
Well, that's the thing, Amy. You sort of can't really do that by yourself, because they do have the guns. They will put you in jail.
Well, I'm working on getting enough of us that will do that.
That's the thing. We have to just keep waking up. We have to keep waking people up. We have to keep having more people on our side. Look, I mean, if that courtroom was totally full of people overflowing into the streets in support of this idea, then more than likely, you'd have a better chance of pulling it off.
Well, I agree. Well, the thing is, I would never be in a courtroom unless I was bullied to be there, and I would explain that I was not there of my own free will, that I have been bullied to be here.
You're under duress. Yeah.
And I will be happy to be subject to all of this silliness if it's proven that I'm subject. And if not, how much time do you think I should give you to prove that I am subject? After which time, I'm going to be going out that door freely.
They have to prove they have jurisdiction over you.
Right. Don't play any of their game. Don't.
When it comes to a handful of people, there's a handful of people running the show. Okay, and this handful of people don't want to let go of their power at all.
Of course not.
They've had it for, I don't know, how long do you think they've had it? Eons.
Sure.
Okay. Their bloodline has gone back all the way, way back to the beginning of what we know as civilization. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
And it's just like
it
seems to me like it is what it is, and it always will be, unless everybody made the thing
is, I'm working on getting people to do that, and some of us may have to.
Some of us are going to have to suffer.
Call it throw ourselves under the bus.
Yeah, some of us are going to have to be the poster child.
But if enough of us see that going on, enough of us are going to be emboldened, and we will take back our planet. Okay, you know that this planet has been stolen from us.
Yeah, oh
That
yeah.
that a trust was made way back when by the Pope that claimed that the church couldn't own the planet because it belonged to God,
Right,
and so it wanted to control the planet,
right,
if not own it. So he proclaimed all people under the age of 18 to be incompetent. And
right,
he proclaimed, he then said, well, you know, when they turn 18, I don't want to give control to the people.
So
I want
restrict
the
them.
church to keep control. So yes, he wrote into this trust that if after 3 months of turning 18, they have not made their claim on their share, as it were, they were dead. Okay? Now
yeah,
that's why they keep telling us we're dead in
yeah,
songs
Well,
and other avenues,
well,
because
there's another.
legally we are considered that. Now there've been a lot of layers put on. Hold on, Aaron. I got some points to make here. Legally, the trustee has zero obligation to the beneficiary, which in the trust we all would be. The beneficiary is responsible for ferreting out all the information they need to find, to learn about what's going on. That's in the legal system, and that's why, you know, it's an unethical system. I do not consent to it. In an ethical arrangement, it is incumbent upon the trustee in a trust to tell the beneficiary everything they would reasonably expect the beneficiary might want to know. But since legally they don't, obviously they haven't even told us about it, so none of us even go looking for the trust, let alone figuring out how to make our claim in enough time to do it, because by the time we even learn about it, if we learn about it at all, most of us are well past the age of 18.
Right.
Okay, now I don't consent to it. I didn't consent to that trust when I was born. I still don't consent to it. It is irrelevant to me. It's my planet. It's your planet if you want to choose for it to be too. Now I'm waiting for my share to be delivered to me, but you know, something tells me they're not going to be jumping forthcoming and giving it to me. But
Well,
my share is vastly
you almost
more.
contradicted yourself there. You almost contradicted yourself in a way, in a term that you know, you're waiting. And I know you were only playfully stating that, but when you said you're waiting for someone to give it to you,
Well, I'm waiting
you have
for.
to claim it. You have to claim it,
Well,
and I know you know this.
I've claimed
Nobody's
it.
going to give anything to you.
I have claimed it, but you know, the thing is, what good is that going to do? Since I don't consent to it in the first place, I do not have to make claims, which is jumping through the hoops of the thing I don't consent to. So I am waiting for it to come forth. However it comes forth, it is my planet. The abundance of this planet, you know, my share, if you will call it that, is way more than I could possibly need or use or want. That's the same for virtually everybody on this planet. This planet has vastly more than we could all use. Now, maybe now, you know, now that you're here, I can go through my outline and
Certainly.
do my talking points, because that brings me into the very first one.
Yeah, a moment ago, before you do, I just want to
Okay.
add. I just want to add real quick. A moment ago, when you were talking about the dead entity, it actually goes a little bit deeper in the sense, and I'm not perfectly versed on this, but I've brushed up against this concept, and that is that when you're born, there is also what is known as the afterbirth, and which is basically discarded, and although it is also considered you because it contains your blood and your DNA. So in a sense, it is you, but in
Right.
another sense, it's not besides living tissue and living cells, it's not a living entity.
Right.
So it is, in fact, considered a dead entity, which is also you in a weird way. We're referring to the
Yep.
Pope, as you mentioned earlier, calling everybody dead. And that's why we have what we now know as the corporate fiction or the straw man, which is the dead entity, otherwise known as you.
Yep.
But it also, like I just wanted to add that there's a deeper biological aspect to that, which goes back to the afterbirth and other people like Jordan Maxwell, and there are others out there who are better versed on that subject for anybody who's interested in these particular topics. So go ahead, Amy.
Okay, we're going to start with planetary resources to give you some idea of what we've got going here. Okay, food. Number one, we throw away enough food to feed all of us. Okay, there are, if we were not distributing by profit, the meat in the supermarket would not go bad by the sell-by date and get discarded. The cans that didn't sell on the shelves wouldn't be tossed out. The vegetables would not start rotting on the shelves and be plucked out and thrown out. We'd all eat the food that was produced and still have an excess of food on this planet. Organic farming produces better yields, and it is unethical to force GMO upon the planet without everybody agreeing that we should have this GMO released upon the planet. Experiment all you want in a good, well-confined lab, but don't be planting it in the fields. And we do better if we planted the organic products in many, many different ways. We're presently paying farmers not to grow food still. So we could, in theory, grow a lot more food. And
well, no, not in theory. That's not even a theory, but go ahead. You're right. We could grow a hell of a lot more food.
Okay. Plus you add in your new the high yield techniques like vertical farming, and they've got some other techniques that they've got going where they're getting huge tons of food from an acre that,
See, I can attest to all that. I garden. I've got a small garden. It's not that big. And I can pretty easily grow a lot more food than my wife and I can consume. We give it away, we give it to our neighbors, we store it, we can it, and so I mean, there's no question that there's no reason to have any shortage of food anywhere on this planet.
Exactly, but that's an artificial scarcity that we have because we have that system of money in place.
Yeah, because they want to monopolize your whole diet.
Oh yeah. For profit.
Everything you consume is for profit. Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's why he says that people have no natural rights to water. What's his name? The Nestle guy. I think it was the Nestle water guy. I think.
Yes, I forget his name, but Nestle.
Water is a human right.
Oh, bull! It absolutely is a human right. It's our planet. It belongs to us, and we all may partake of whatever we can get our hands on, because there's plenty of water on this planet for all of us, especially with inventions like Dean Kamen's water purification device, which if we ran it on free energy, could be placed anywhere on the planet to make potable water for everyone. Right. Number two is clothing. Okay, we've got textiles are very abundant. I mean, the only reason that we go through so many clothes is fashion. But if they were made to last instead of the planned obsolescence, which is creating the bulk of the waste on this planet, we could share our clothing, pass it on, get rid of this fashion system which is instituted just to keep money flowing.
Passion is narcissism.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me interject here for a moment. And I know you and I have discussed these things, Amy.
Mhm.
I disagree in the sense that money is the source of the ailments that you are portraying right now. I am fully convinced that it is simply one thing and one thing only, and that is psychopathy.
Well, I agree with you, but the point is that the only tool that the psychopaths have to power that they have is money. That is
No,
the only tool
no,
they
no, it's
have.
not. No, it absolutely is not. It absolutely is
On
not.
on
The,
on any kind of scale, yes, it is.
No,
They
not on
can't.
any kind of scale. And I'll give you several examples. I'll give you one right off the bat. How about Jim Jones? Those people were
Well,
not paid to go down to Guyana or Ghana or wherever they went.
I agree that there will be cults. We can't stop that
It
as
doesn't
long
have
as they're.
to, well, it doesn't have to go as far as an actual cult. But in a sense, it's very similar in the fact that a charismatic person with a psychopathic nature can and will, in a paradigm without money, can and will create an atmosphere of people around them with an ideology
Yeah.
to act and behave unethically.
Well, the thing is that if they are creating a problem with their behavior, which generally behaving unethically creates a problem, there will be plenty of people who will solve for the problem. They will take the people who are creating the problem and take them out of social circulation, i.e., lock them up.
Okay, so now we have to have a police force to do that.
No, we have people who care that go and do this. They
So now we
can't
have
do it.
vigilantes. So now we have
No,
vigilantes having
no,
gun battles in
no.
the street.
There's no vigilantism because the only thing that is acceptable is dealing with unethical behavior. And there are 3 laws. There are 3 laws. Who decides? We have a trial on the web, and all the people who care can input and vote upon it. And I'm going to tell you that if something is unethical, you will have a vastly large, it will never be 50-50, okay? You're going to have the vast proportion of people seeing the unethical nature of things and weighing in on solving for the unethical behavior.
Okay,
The vast majority.
Okay, well, I'm only trying to imagine the logistical scenarios for these concepts in their micro environments. Such as, I'll give you a hypothetical example. This show that we're doing right here, it's in its infancy stage. We have a small audience, and let's say, for instance, that we use this show. Let's say that your paradigm is in place, and let's say that something unethical is happening in my neighborhood, and I'm going to use this show. And even though it's a small audience, and by the way, they're vastly spread out. So Ian can't help me. You can't help me. You guys are thousands of miles away from me.
Here's the thing. Yes, we can. Because if we get free energy out and have no money, we will have electrogravitic vehicles that can be there in 5 minutes.
Okay. Okay, that's...
Well, that would be in the future, yeah.
Well, we're talking about the future, and my paradigm is in place. We will have the freedom to be where we want to be whenever we want to be there.
Okay. So now it boils down to motivation. Let's say, for example, let me finish this hypothetical example, a thought experiment.
Not a problem.
Let's say there's something going on in my neighborhood. I got a problem with this guy. Maybe I see him abusing his kids, or maybe his kids are, running around the neighborhood stealing, and he won't do anything about it, right? So now I use this forum, and I voice my complaints, and let's say now the small audience that we have it boils down to, do you have the time and do you have the personal motivation to get off your ass and come down here and bring your gun and help enforce what we consider to be ethical or moral?
Sure. Let me tell you something. In the first place, you're going to put it on this forum, but you're also going to email everybody that you care, that you've got a relationship with, because the people.
All right, fair enough.
Okay, and if they care, they're going to email the people they care about and say, hey, and they're going to go on their platforms.
So there's the qualifier if.
Well, the thing is, if they don't care,
then I'm fucked.
Well,
then I have to get my gun and be a vigilante and deal with the problem myself.
Well, no, because if you've got people who care about you, dear, they will care.
I'm lucky enough that I have some people, and
well,
not everybody does.
Well, the thing is,
others would help, right? Like you'd hope other like-minded people like yourself would stand together.
Don't you think this would promote in people behaving in such a way that others care about them?
Yeah, it would reshape the way we'd handle situations.
Exactly. If you took a look at that psychopath piece I put in there right now, because of the situation where we are promoted into see something, say something, and all these other psychopathic things, we behave poorly. We have learned to behave poorly. But when you have a system that promotes being well thought of, being, where the currency is in reputation and accounted for in the hearts and minds of others, you're going to find that people will work very hard to make sure that people care about them. It's going to be, it will be a shift, and I don't think it will take all that long. We will change the way that we choose our behavior.
I agree, like most people would be for this because, they'd want a better way, right? They'd want to get out of all
people are genuinely good anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We're generally good. Like we're generally loving, right?
Well, most people at least are ethical. Are ethical, except in the situation where they're desperate. And of course, the psychopaths in control keep us desperate, and even desperate people.
It's fear. Right?
Well, no, fear. Desperate. There's a big
fear
difference.
Causes desperation.
Well, yes.
You're afraid you're going to not make your rent, so you got to work extra hours. You're afraid you're not going to get a girlfriend, so you go out to the bar and try to find a girlfriend. You're afraid you can't get your driver's license, so you keep trying to pass the test.
Yes. So, but the desperation is what leads us. Any unethical behavior that we choose is out of desperation.
Born of desperation.
Unless we are a psychopath, but we're talking about the bulk of humanity, the 94% that are not psychopathic.
Well, hey, we should take a break here for maybe 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Give me just a second. I have something that's almost ready.
You want to share something with us? Okay. Do you have audio, or do you need audio?
No, I've got. I'm just going to use my Bluetooth speaker like I always do here, and I want to play a couple of minutes of Richie Allen, and it's going to be a bit of a digression back to where you guys were talking earlier about the Pizzagate and you asked the question, where is this going? And I got to tell you, man, you got to hear this, Richie Allen. I'm going to cue this up here. This is his most recent post. The title is called "The IPSO says it wants to regulate information to stop fake news."
Right.
And if you don't know what the IPSO is, I'll just let Richie explain it. And I'm going to cue this up here at about 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Okay.
And so here it is, and it'll play it for a few minutes, and we can all go have a bathroom break. And I urge everybody to pay attention to what he's saying here, by the way. And for those of you that miss it, go back and check it out. So This is pretty important stuff. This is absolutely leading us into a 1984 style censorship.
Oh yeah.
It's absolutely stunning. So here we go.
All right, be back in about. How long is it?
Fake news
Couple
on
minutes.
the internet and social platforms has been very prevalent in 2016, according to the mainstream media. Will it get worse in 2017? Do we need to regulate all of this? How serious is this? Listen up. Adam Bolton of Sky News spoke today with what's his name? Moses. Can't remember his name now. I do this off the top of my head, you see. Alan Moses, yes, I think it's Alan Moses. That'll teach me to make notes in future. Alan Moses is the chairman of the Independent Press Standards Organization, IPSO. So yes, Adam Bolton of Sky News spoke today with Alan Moses, the chairman of IPSO, who said that we basically need to regulate information. Can you believe it? Have a listen.
Well, I think that the most important thing is that people should realize that something does need to be done. If a newspaper gets a full story from a full source, and this has happened, then of course it is within IPSO's jurisdiction, and if it's the newspaper will be responsible for publishing that inaccurate full story. But it's a much wider and important problem, and a really important problem in this country, because people's voices and people's votes depends upon making a judgment on accurate information. And if post-truth becomes acceptable and something is not...
No, but I mean, you say you're not responsible for what people say on the internet, but the internet is there. It is a source of information which most people
get their news from.
Exactly, most people get their news from. So would you like to have your powers extended to the internet? Or could that even be done? Would that be practical?
I'm sure it needs to be thought about, and it is practicable. And I don't believe it should just be left to Facebook or to the organizations. They have just formed a partnership for the benefit of society in September 2016. There's a council, the British government have created the Council for Data Ethics in April 2016. And it is something, until it's grappled with, press regulation is merely a small part of really what is far more important, that is the regulation of information, because people's votes and democracy depends upon accuracy on which they base
because it is one of these things.
No, people's votes and accuracy depend on depend on accuracy on which they base their judgments, and the press regulation isn't enough. We need to regulate information. You see, he said that. Listen again.
Press regulation is merely a small part of really what is far more important, that is the regulation of information.
Oh, we need to regulate information. I don't need to insult your intelligence by telling you what's going on there, other than to say, who gets to decide what is true and what isn't true? What criteria will be laid down as the basis for how we decide what is right, what is wrong, what is fact, what is fiction, what is discourse, what is spin. What this is all about is the internet is becoming a very dangerous place because people, ordinary people, are starting to share information amongst themselves. Information that basically discredits the bullshit that Fox, Sky News, CNN, NBC, and all that bollocks. That's what's going on here. We've got to stop that. We've got to get people sharing information that we say is good enough to be shared and that we say is accurate. That's it. That's it, you see. That's the job right there.
All right. You guys back?
I'm back.
Pardon me. That right there is remarkable stuff.
I wish I had caught it personally, but I needed my fix.
All right.
So I went outside and had my fix.
Okay, well, that was a clip that Richie Allen had played from this group called IPSO. And I walked away from the computer because I had already heard this, but so forgive me if I'm not well versed. I didn't take notes, and I was listening to this on the ride home today. And I didn't listen to it twice. I didn't take notes. Going through Richie's description box to see if he had any write-up on this. Any redistribution or reproduction or part of all these contents in any form is prohibited, blah, blah, blah. So I guess I just did a bad thing there. So anyway, this is IPSO, and forgive me, I don't remember the name of the acronym. In fact, I'll just back it up and let him say it again here, because it's right here at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Just listen to this for just a few seconds, and then we'll talk about it again. Ian, are you back yet? Maybe he's on mute. I'm on the other page looking at the chat box.
I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm going to play this one more time, and you and I can talk about it for just a moment.
One for the moment. Now, fake news on the internet and social platforms has been very prevalent in 2016, according to the mainstream media. Will it get worse in 2017? Do we need to regulate all of this?
Can you hear that okay?
How serious is this? Yep. Listen up. Adam Bolton of Sky News spoke today with, what's his name, Moses. Can't remember his name now.
All right, so it's Adam Bolton of Sky News speaks with this guy, Alan Moses, I think.
I do this off the top of my head, you see. Alan Moses, yes, I think it's Alan Moses. That'll teach me to make notes in future. Alan Moses is the chairman of the Independent Press Standards Organization.
Independent Press Standards Organization.
Okay.
So that's IPSO, IPSO, Independent Press Standards Organization.
I don't consent to them.
And what he is saying is that the regulations that are already in place, and this is in a nutshell what he's saying, the regulations that are already in place that are supposed to keep news media honest are not enough, and that we should regulate information. And those are actually his words there. He says we should regulate information.
Pish.
Yeah. So
what is true
here
and what isn't true?
Listen for a moment.
What criteria will be laid down as the basis for how we decide what is right, what is wrong, what is fact, what is fiction, what is discourse, what is spin. What this is all about is the internet is becoming a very dangerous place.
I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to try to find where he replays the clip.
Discredits the bullshit that Fox, Sky News, CNN, NBC, and all that bollocks. That's what's going on here. We've got to stop that. We've got to get people sharing information that we say is good enough to be shared and that we say is accurate. That's it. That's it, you see. That's the job right there. Massive interview.
I think he's going to replay
Adam
it right
Bolton,
here.
of course, Rupert Murdoch-Lackey sat through it. Never challenged him once. Never talked about freedom of speech. Never talked about freedom of opinion. Never talked about the right to use your internet website or your Facebook page to share an opinion that you have about an event. Never. Watch this one closely. We've been talking about this ongoing for a while. Now, cyber attacks and attempts to...
Now, I'm just going to back once more. I'm sorry to spend so much time on this. I'm trying to find where he replays the clip of the guy saying, literally...
And what isn't true? What criteria will be laid down?
We have to...
Press regulation isn't enough.
We have to regulate information.
We need to regulate.
Yep.
You see?
So, I'll just spare it right there, and we can talk about it. Fact is that this is the Independent Press Standards Organization now believes and is now publicly stating that they think that information should be regulated. Information.
Who will regulate it? Who the
Yeah.
government?
And who gets to watch the
Well-
watchers?
Well, we're already headed that way, aren't we? Because I mean, Ian, you're on Facebook, right? I'm
Yeah,
not.
well, yeah, I know.
I'm not on Facebook. I heard that Facebook, like last week, in the wake of this Pizzagate nonsense, and I'm sorry to get off topic, Amy. We're going to get back to your presentation, and we'll go a little long if we have to.
Okay.
If you can still hear me, my Internet Explorer just stopped working, so I may have to come back.
Well, I
All
can
right.
hear you.
Well, I'm back.
Okay. All right. Well, if you lose me, I'll be right back. I just got a message that my Internet Explorer just stopped working. All right. So.
Okay. Oh, and that's it.
And that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
All right. So Richie did bring up the point that the question you asked, and God, see, now I'm sorry. I just lost my train of thought because of this damn pop-up. Crap. Can you remind me what I was saying 10 seconds ago? Oh,
Well, we were talking about the dissemination of information, the control. Who would be
watches the watchers?
Who's watching the watchers? Yeah.
Yeah, who gets to be the watchers and who's going to watch the watchers?
Not ringing a bell. We didn't throw those words out there.
No, that's more just, yeah, in layman's terms.
Helping. You're moving forward. You're not helping me go back. Crap.
I totally lost my train of thought too. So.
I lost my train of thought. It happens to everyone.
Yep.
It happens to all my favorite radio hosts. It happens to everyone. So I was talking about the Richie Allen. I was talking about the this guy from Ipso who says he wants to regulate information. Oh, Facebook. I was asking you about Facebook. Oh yeah.
Right.
See, no thanks from you guys.
Yeah, Facebook.
I had to help myself there. So I just heard that Facebook, in the wake of this fake news meme going around, that they just recently changed their entire policy. Now everybody on Facebook has to be recognized by their original full name.
Yeah, their legal name corporation.
Oh, really? You have to be by your legal name. You can't have a made-up one.
So, yeah, nobody has any more avatar names. You can't have a Facebook page for your dog.
Well, I still have my Facebook page, Lantern in the North.
Lantern in the North?
Yeah. It's a group.
Oh, well, you're in one of those third world countries we call Canada.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not so worried about you guys, but that's how it is down here, brah.
Well, good for me then. I dodged the bullet.
Yeah, well, for now.
Sophie, I was going to say so far.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I still have my
so that's
group.
how it is down here, at least, because I mean, it's like
there's still all sorts of groups. There's like a Pizzagate group here. Join
see, that's another thing. How do they work that when it comes to a business, a group? You know, it's like, funny. What if you want to have a Facebook page for your dog? Like my wife, she doesn't want her name on Facebook out there. She posts under our pup's name, and they made her change it.
Get this, I went on Facebook just now, right? And my suggested site is Pizzagate.
Well, they know you, don't they?
It goes suggested sites, and it says Pizzagate. Join now.
Yeah,
there's a bunch of
they know you, don't they?
See that? Geez. See that? So they, want to lure you in, right? Lure you in. See who's awake to this stuff, right? But we were talking earlier about the mainstream media and how they're in complete damage control now because their fake news is coming back to haunt them, right?
They're in 100% damage control. But I would like to get back on the topic because we're now at 9:15. I would like to get back on Amy's paradigm and presentation before we run too close to 10 o'clock. So please, Amy, the floor is yours.
We're going to move on from the clothing and get to shelter. Options are available for us all. Money keeps us from providing the rock, the wood, the hemp, the earth, the recycling that we could be doing.
How does money keep us from doing that? People been trying to do that left and right, all over the place.
Well, money keeps us from the bulk of us. I'm not talking about the people who've got the money to buy the stuff to build shelters with. I don't have any money. I can't go out and get a shelter.
Well,
okay, that's my point.
Okay.
But there's plenty of all this for everybody. I mean, what was it? Something like I forget the exact number, but there's at least 6 empty houses for every homeless person in this country.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
I've heard some weird out of there estimates like that, similar as well.
Okay. If you gave every human 1/4 of an acre of land in Australia, and now granted, not all of them are.
You'd have all of Queensland, and everybody would have a 1/4 acre, enough to grow their own food. Every man, woman, and child.
If you gave every single human a 1/4 acre of land in Australia, you would not fill up Australia. You'd still have some of Australia left over, and Australia is only 4% of the land mass on this planet. And that's not even counting Antarctica. The volume of humans on this planet would not fill a side canyon of the Grand Canyon. If you mushed us all together, you couldn't even fill a side canyon.
Really?
Yes, there one particular side canyon that I'm thinking about. My dad did the calculations when we visited many years ago, and he couldn't even, he learned the volume of the canyon, figured out an average volume for a human, and said that it wouldn't even fill half the canyon.
Wow.
Every human on the planet. And by now we might be getting towards maybe 3/4. Okay. So this gives you
one side canyon, not the main canyon.
Not the main canyon, one side canyon. Okay.
There are people that lived in those canyons.
There's a
change the subject, Ian.
There's enough space in Texas to give every one of us easily 1,500 square feet.
Right.
Statistically speaking, humans don't exist on this planet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Water. Okay. We've already mentioned earlier Dean Kamen's water purification device, which makes virtually any water potable. I mean, I watched him put some stuff that had all kinds of toxic, nasty crap in it, and out came pure, clean, potable water. That's sort of fallen into the mists of time. It was a big thing. Even Stephen Colbert had him on the show at one point in time, but nobody really remembers it. Too bad. The reason, I'm sure, has a lot to do with the fact that they don't want us to have potable water. They want to bring the population down to a manageable, a controllable level. Money to provide energy for purification lacking in most areas of the world. Under the money system, there's money keeping the purification being provided. The world's surface is mostly water, so clearly it's not that we lack water to work with. Second section, we've got robotics and other technologies. Presently, robotics is capable of doing all necessary functions outside of emergencies like farming, manufacturing, cleaning and maintenance, supplying, and diagnostics. And of course, we have a ton of people who either are working on robots because they love to work on robots, or wish they were working on robots but don't have the money to go about doing so. And they're so busy plugging their energy into some crap job.
Okay, I would like you to pause right there. I would like to rebut for a moment. I understand and I agree almost entirely. But I have a big problem with this idea that robots can handle all these things. As a contractor for many, many years, I've been in so many situations, and believe me, I'm a smart guy, and I come from when I was in high school, I mean, I thought I was going to be an electrical engineer. Okay, I worked with lasers. I learned trigonometry. Okay, I took some pretty high courses when I was in school. So I don't come from an ignorant background, at least.
Right. No, I wouldn't think so.
I took free enterprise courses. I worked in manufacturing, and now I'm a contractor for many, many years. I've been in so many situations that, in other words, I've thought about, hey, maybe could we get a robot to do this? You know what I mean? That's the point I was trying to make. And throughout the years, the thought has occurred to me, hey, could a robot do this? Could a robot do that? And now as a contractor, the point I want to make is there are so many situations where a robot just won't do. There's just no, maybe there's people smarter than me that could make a robot that could do it. But I'm talking about getting down in the sewer and pulling out, replacing.
Well, they do have robots that are doing that. I've seen them. My point is here, though, that if a problem arises,
somebody will solve it.
We will want to solve for it if it affects us.
Okay, that's a great answer, and to that I do agree.
Okay.
Humans are problem solvers.
So we will. Oh, very much so.
We'll redesign the whole sewer system so that we can make an efficient robot go do all the things that we needed to do. Absolutely. So on that sense, I agree.
When we can get the robots to do basic things, and when the problems crop up, we will solve for them. Okay? That's the whole point. The whole point of the abundance paradigm is to let us use our problem-solving nature instead of passing laws and then beating people into submission. Okay?
The whole idea of the robots freaks me out a little bit. It's because, you see some movies and stuff where the robots take over and they gain minds of their own, and you hear stories where actually robots can think now and stuff like that. It goes down a creepy path for me.
They will always be programmed.
No, they won't, Amy, because right now we have AI and we have quantum computing. And if anybody listening doesn't understand quantum computing, just look that stuff up for about 5 minutes until your head explodes. It's the kind of stuff. Holy crap!
But somewhere along the line, someone gave them the parameters.
We're a baby's breath away from cognizant. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. It's been a long day.
You're welcome.
And I pounded. All right.
Some people go okay, robots is fine and dandy, like cashiers. Do you think there should be waitresses and waiters that are robots?
Sure, why not?
Hey, it's like on Star Wars, right? When they go to the cafe.
Okay, right? Yeah.
Big deal. The waitress.
You guys have Hooters down there in the States?
Well, yeah.
Great point, Ian.
Let me put it to you this way.
No, I'm talking about the point where people won't want they have a matrix around them, and it's built around them, and we've grown up. Our generations have grown up in this matrix.
Yes.
And
I realize.
I feel that people just won't want to get out of this matrix. They just love it so much because we're all these entertaining things. Our mind is stimulated all the time with all these.
There will be plenty of that.
Especially
because
porn. Look at porn. How stimulating is that to a lot of people? Right?
And a lot of people will get into it, and it will be available. I'm just saying, we've got the interweb.
People won't want to do porn because then there's no money to be made. So what's the point
no. There are plenty of people who do porn because they love the attention.
That's right.
There are plenty of people who will do porn because they gain a reputation. There are plenty of people that will do it because they think it's fun.
Like doing it in a public bus shelter.
Well, they may choose to do that in the right.
It's the excitement of doing it and just putting it out there.
There won't really be public bus shelters because we won't have buses, but having the option to be picked up by electrogravitic taxi if
You know
we
what I
don't
mean?
want to do it, but
Enjoy, like,
we're
okay,
on our own.
you'll go to Chuck E. Cheese, okay, with your kids. You'll take them there, and there'll be all these dressed up, people in costumes and having a lot of fun, and serving them, but serving with entertainment involved, right? People will miss things like that.
Well, but I don't think that they will go away. There will be people whose absolute joy is to provide entertainment and also food.
You're not correct.
These things.
But you'd have to really love standing outside in the hot sun, dressed up in a bear costume, promoting something.
I bet we could get a robot to do that.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But the thing is, nobody's going to be. The promotion will be on the web. The promotion will be on the web.
Yeah, I do understand where you're going.
Okay, so now that brings me to point number 2 under robots and other technologies. The interweb is now connecting virtually the whole planet. Now, I understand it's under attack, but...
Refrigerator is under attack?
Your dishwasher is spying on you.
The interweb, yes.
Go ahead,
At any
Amy,
rate,
sorry.
Problems can be communicated immediately. Solutions can be found initially locally, and if no solutions are available locally, it can move up to a worldwide effort to solve a problem, if it's that big of a problem. Governance and judicial functions can be handled on the web. Personal cameras are becoming the norm.
Okay,
we can record our personal perspective, to which we have inalienable rights as our witness. Okay? Nobody can tell me I can't film what I see. Just that, if I can see it, I can film it. That is what I consent to. And I consent to you filming whatever you see.
I agree to the in public version of that concept.
Well,
Not necessarily when you're on somebody's private property, they have the right to decide what happens on that property.
Yes, I agree that it is that the private property, if you've got your personal abode and property that you take care of around it, you have the right to have anybody either leave or turn off their camera. Yes, that is, you own where you live.
You have the right. It's very simple. You have the right to decide what happens on your property.
Exactly.
Now, who's going to enforce that?
Provided
once again, back to enforcement, because when you have people that want to push the envelope.
But who's going to want to, first of all, who's going to want to push the envelope? They've got their own place. They've got their own place, and they are risking their reputation by being an asshole.
Okay, I want to give you another hypothetical, Amy. You remember the one I painted a moment ago? I've got a guy in my neighborhood. He's being a jerk, abusing his kids or whatever.
Yep, and his
let's imagine for a moment that there are 2 assholes in the neighborhood, and they are going at it.
Okay.
In layman's terms.
They're okay. Well, if it's causing a problem for you, and it is unethical, if it's causing a problem for you and it's not unethical, remove yourself from the problem. If it's causing a problem for you and it's unethical, you report it either as an emergency or as a general problem. I really love this house.
I don't want to remove myself from the problem. I want the problem to go back to being moral and ethical.
Well, you start explaining what's going on to your friends and family and through shows like this.
What if I find it really aggravating and irritating that I have to take time out of my day to deal with that?
Well,
sounds like a lot of effort to talk to all my neighbors. They're not always home, which means I'm knocking on everybody's door 5 times a week.
No, you don't have to be knocking on the door. There's the web. And you don't have to talk to your neighbors are not going. First of all,
so what about privacy? So what about privacy? Because you assume that I have every neighbor's email address.
No, not neighbors.
How do I find every neighbor's email
if there
address?
is a problem, you report it on the web, and it is a.
And then I hope my neighbors find it.
No, it is. Well, you will have a local area where you're reporting your problems to, and it is one's duty, civic duty, to check the web at least once a day to see if there are any problems one can offer a solution to.
So now instead of being free and doing what I want, I now have civic duties.
Well, you don't have to, but your reputation will suffer. That guy never shows up. He never gets involved.
Okay,
What's
well, what
wrong
if
with
most
him?
of them don't show up and I can't get this problem resolved? And now we've got people fighting out in front of my house.
Well, you report that problem and
to report it to who? God and everybody, the neighborhood, the internets.
Well, I'm just going to say.
I'm just trying to understand this in a logistical sense.
I'm going to say that first and foremost, what you're doing is describing a problem that will be so rare that sooner or later somebody is going to solve for the problem.
Hey, well, who's going to govern who's doing wrong and who's doing right? Who's going to govern that?
So what happens if somebody steps completely out of line and shoots somebody over that conflict in that scenario?
Well, shooting somebody, unless it's in self-defense, is unethical, and we apprehend that person. And
we who? The citizens?
The people who care.
The people who care. And what if there's nobody in your neighborhood who cares enough to pick up a gun and go apprehend a guy who we know has a gun and just shot someone?
Well, that's what the emergency reporting is for, and you can get a phone app that alerts you to emergencies, and because you care to take care of these problems in society, and you get the report that there's been a murder.
I don't know. That's kind of going down a nanny state.
So those people who care enough. Hang on. So those people who care enough to check the internet every day and are willing to get on their floating cars and zip across the planet and help some guy that they have no idea about in an armed conflict because they care so much. So basically what you're talking about is a group of vigilantes.
Well, no, not vigilantes per se.
A self-appointed police force.
Everybody, first of all, I highly recommend that everybody be armed.
Well, okay, and then so we have these people who care, and they'll show up from across the country at my doorstep because I say so, and because I say so, I say, hey, I got a problem. There's these people out there. I need some armed people to come help me solve this problem. And then next thing I know, a bunch of people that I've never met, have no idea their history, background, training, show up with guns.
Right.
And then, look, I hate to say the word, but there's no regulation. There's no order to everybody understands how we're going to do this. There's none of that.
I will say this:
a bunch of random people show up with guns to solve the problem.
The leaders will emerge. You say, "Look, there's that guy. He just shot that guy dead." Everybody will turn their guns on that guy, and that guy is going to go.
What you're describing is mob mentality.
It's not mob. It's not mob.
Hey, it is because the mob sometimes does the right thing.
Sometimes does
the mob is not always a bad thing.
Well,
but what you are describing is mob mentality. And leaders do emerge from the mob, and often the mob will do the right thing, but there's no guarantee.
Well, I'm going to say that that if there's some people that are doing the wrong thing, they will be also solved for as a problem.
Okay, well, they might believe they're doing the right thing. They might be one of those people who are psychopaths.
But if it's unethical, they will be taken to task.
And if it's unethical, then I've got a gun battle in my front yard.
Theoretically,
and by the way, who cleans up the bodies?
The people who care. The robots.
Okay, so now I got to go. Okay, the robots. So now I got to go online and say, hey, I got dead bodies. Can someone come help me pick it up? Do something with it?
Yeah.
And
I mean, how tough is it? You know,
Well,
gee, you
I'm
might
not.
have
I'm
to
not
spend
necessarily.
15 minutes of your day doing something.
Oh, scraping up brains off the sidewalk.
Well, no,
Sorry, you have to spend
that's where
15
the
minutes of your day
that's
scraping
that's the
brains off the sidewalk.
The robots do that.
Okay.
You'd still have to, you know.
All right.
It
Fair
reminds
enough.
me
We
of
could
that.
get robots to pick
I'm
up the
just saying,
brains.
what you
You
are
remember the?
describing will be
Do
so
you,
rare as to, statistically it will not exist.
do you remember
Okay?
the movie? Do you remember that short cartoon movie? It was called Futurama,
Yeah.
where the guy's sitting in the control command center, right? His husband, he's hooked up to that thing, to that computer, right? And she says, "Here's my husband. He spends all day playing video games on this thing, right? He's
Right.
control. He's the central command unit for the robots that are doing all the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had to get a permit to travel between towns and all that stuff. But that kind of reminds me of that scenario. You know, like, well, somebody's going to have to operate those robots, right, and maintain them and clean them, and you know,
Well,
you're,
robots can maintain
that
robots,
future
number one.
scares me. Sorry, I can't.
Well, the
I
thing
don't. We
is
can't.
though,
Robotic future is not in what I have
Ian,
good intentions, right?
understand
Like,
this. The neat thing about what I've got here is if you don't want robots in your life, you don't have to have them. If you like scrubbing your own toilet, by all means, scrub
Well,
your own
that's okay.
toilet.
Maybe that's in your own house, but now you're confined to your house because you don't like robots, and those freaking
yeah,
things are running up and down my street, picking up every tiny
yeah.
piece of trash, and they're putting all the pine straw in place, and
Well,
they're
you
picking
One's
go.
up brains.
zooming down the highway and it crashes into
If I step out my front door, I'm inundated with robots.
Well,
There's
no, you
drones.
won't be. You won't be. You're making it. You're making it sound like we.
Oh, I'm
To be
sorry.
very
I didn't mean
honest,
to laugh.
a vast number of us will be living in sky houses. And if you don't particularly like what's going on nearby, you move your house
Up
to
into the
another
sky.
area of the planet where there's
remember you-
Yeah, we
nobody
understand.
around.
I remember
No,
you
the
talking about
technology.
electrogravitics, so that's
Yes,
actually in the cards. So I see
Yeah,
where you're going.
yes.
yeah, yeah.
I'm just going to say that there will
Get
be a
on your
great.
little iPad and you just move the house
There will
Yeah,
be, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. There will
and your
be
front yard.
there will be a diaspora from the cities. People who love to live in the cities will stay, but so many people are only there because that's where the
And the money.
jobs are.
Yeah,
That's
the
where
money is.
the money
That's
is.
correct.
Yeah,
Once you
that's
take
right.
away the money,
Oh,
a
no one will live in
large number
cities.
of
No one,
people
no
are
one
It's
will
the
want to go
comfort.
on busy streets. No one will want to be honked
No.
at, yelling,
they're
road
gonna
rage. No.
they're gonna get themselves a nice, pretty, glorious little house or big
Right.
house and
They're gonna have their
fly
own piece of
off
land.
and park themselves up in the air over waterfalls
All right, let me
forests and
let me
Yeah.
just jump in real quick, and then I want to get back to Amy's whatever presentation she has left.
quite a
People
bit.
are in the people flock to the cities not because of the jobs, not because of the money, because you could go live in the woods as a homesteader, and I guarantee you'll have a fucking job all day, every fucking day. There's
Yeah,
no
of course.
shortage of job. If you want to go live on your own, that's a freaking job. So
Well,
it's
the
not
thing
necessarily
is,
the jobs; it's the comfort, Amy. It's
well,
the
no,
Right.
here
comfort.
let's take this. Let's take this. Okay, you've got your little house. You've
I'm
got
only
connection.
no, no.
Can I? Can I?
I'm gonna let you get back to your concept. I only wanted to interject on the idea that the reason people live in the city is for the job. I say
Well,
it's for the comfort.
let me tell you something. When you've got your little house flying over a forest and you've got your web connection and you go on the web and you say, "Ooh, I want that." And you type it in, "Yes, please give me that." And a robot flies over to your house and delivers it. You've got that comfort.
Well, fair enough. That's back to your paradigm. I'm only suggesting why people live in the cities now,
Well,
because
I
you guys
agree.
mentioned that a moment ago. I just wanted
Yeah,
to throw that
no.
in. So
If you're
feel free to
talking
go back.
about in this paradigm, I'm working what it's going to look like when we
All
get
right.
there,
Well, the floor is
because
yours.
we
Go
will.
back. Go back to your
Okay,
paradigm and whatever you
we've
have
got
left for your. Go ahead.
open source, all public works. That doesn't mean that people can't write private code, but who'd want to use somebody's private code? You know?
Open
But if
source
it's a
public works.
Yeah, in other words, if you're programming robots, they should to give to people. People should say, "Is it open source?" No, I don't want it because I don't know what to expect from it. So it will emerge to be open source.
Would you
This
just go
will
ahead and define your or whatever definition? Just define open source.
where anybody can look at the code. That's
Assuming you know how to read code.
Well,
You're right.
granted,
Okay. Anybody who can look at it. Okay.
I mean, we've got Linux.
In other words, no secrets. In other words, no secrets. Okay.
Just don't accept any secret stuff because you don't know what else has been written in, you know?
Sure.
This ensures clean code and no backdoors. Okay?
Well, okay.
Then we get to energy, power, money relationships. The basis of money is an exchange of meaningful energy expended. The first hunter, gatherer, fisher, farmer, miner used and collected free resources. The meaningful energy expended was bartered, traded, work exchanged for through the product, though the products were erroneously seen as having the value. Money, as we know it, is merely a convenient placeholder for when some have what others want, but the others have nothing those some want. Money, therefore, merely accounts for meaningful energy expended. A paycheck is accounting for the meaningful energy one has expended. Power over others is a function of money and charisma. With money, controlling behavior is made possible. Charisma is social power and usually makes positive impact. With energy as a basis for money, money/power over others/energy can be seen as three forms of the same thing, like ice, water, steam. Free energy equals no need for money. Adding free energy removes the cost of energy all down the line, and in the end, the resources are free. Adding robots to do necessary work no one wants to do removes the cost of human energy. No need to pay robots. Humans will do work they want to do for mere social currencies such as appreciation, lauds, thanks, gratitude, reputation, recognition, self-satisfaction, bragging rights, and love. We all have avocations, things we do because we want to do them and not because we will get money. These will become our vocations for social currency. Free energy technologies exist and have been suppressed for 50 to 100 years. I know definitely 50, and if you could count Tesla, it sure looks like it's closer to 100.
Yeah.
Now, the complications we presently see, structural impedances in social systems, are the money systems, which impedes abundance, the legal systems, which impede freedom, charity systems, which impede concepts of all being deserving, punitive systems, which impede freedom, educational systems, which impede information flow, governmental systems, which impede local choices, and military systems, which impede peace. If you want peace, take the profit out of war.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for sure.
Okay? I mean,
because
I forget there was some Chinese, I think it was, philosopher who said,
that's worth a billboard.
well, yeah.
Yeah, really.
Remember I talked about the billboard idea? That would be a great billboard.
That's-
You want peace,
that's
take the profit out of war.
That's one of my memes, in fact, that I tweet out a lot.
Right.
The,
All the wars over the last 200 years have been for money anyway, so.
well, it for profit,
But
for
the Civil
some
War-
gain. But if you
Well,
can take
that's-
that out,
That's not the main reason, but go ahead. There's a lot of profit to be made, and that's why a lot of people participate. So
Well,
on one level, that is correct, but that's not the main reason. But that's another subject. Go ahead.
okay, now we get to governance versus government. The etymology of government, as we most know, is
Mind
control
control.
mind, yes, or mind control. Governments are in place. Governments all place control in the hands of the few, even a democratic government. Governance is an agreed upon system whereby no few are in control. Many, all may participate. Stigmergic governance via the web is now possible. Stigmergy is emergent structure based on societal behavior. Linux is a prime example of stigmergy. The three laws of three laws are all the laws there are, the three laws of ethics. Everything else is an act, a bill, a code, a regulation, a mandate, an edict, an order, a statute, a declaration, a constitution. None of them are laws. There are three laws, and they are the three laws of ethics. Those that care can participate in resolving any issue. If it's causing you problems, you will care to solve for the problem. Punitive justice can be meted out by those who care within the three laws. In other words, death penalty, I don't think so. That's unethical. The first law of ethics is do not willfully and without fully informed consent hurt or kill the flesh of another. Anyway, I suppose I should give the other two laws. Do not willfully and without fully informed consent take or damage anything that isn't yours. And the third law is do not defraud another, which can only happen without fully informed consent. Those are your three laws. Anyway, the betterment ethic versus the work ethic. The work ethic is a slave's ideal or slave's creed. Expend your human energy to the enrichment of others. Instill a betterment ethic, and with profit removed as motive, we will seek betterment.
That's all. I'm sorry. Are you done?
Well, I know I've still got more of the outline, but if you want to stop on that point.
I would like to stop and interject, and we can do a little overtime because we got about 10 minutes to the top of the hour here. And I'm perfectly willing to go a little overtime if you guys are.
Yeah.
Sorry I was late today, by the way. I had to leave town. I got stuff, I got my own bills to pay. First of all, Amy, I would like to ask you two questions. One is, how do you think this society in your paradigm would deal with rare commodities like gold, silver? Like, for instance, if I wanted to be Saddam Hussein and I wanted a gold toilet and I wanted gold chairs and I wanted gold bed frames and I wanted more gold than my fair share, and there's just not that much of it, and you just can't make that stuff. And I know free energy.
Yes,
Okay.
can. They transmuted lead to gold in the 1970s. You know they perfected this ability because they also have the free energy. So really, there is no element that is scarce if we choose to not have it be scarce.
Okay, first of all, as far as transmuting lead into gold, you're right, they did do that. From what I understand, unless there's a new mechanism of using mercury or some other similar element, it takes, and I understand you're saying free energy, I hear you, but what they put this quantity into their nuclear reactor, and they came back 2 weeks later and they had 1 microgram.
Well, I'm pretty sure that that's something
So-
that they have enhanced greatly. You know, that we're talking, what, 40 years ago? I can guarantee you that they've been working on better ways to get this to happen. They've got all the energy they need. That is really the main thing that they needed, was energy. And now they can, you know, shoot energy in.
All right, fair enough. Technology is advanced. Let's get on to the next question because
Okay.
we're getting close here.
Okay.
The next question is, you mentioned the third law, and that
Yes.
is, do not willfully and knowingly take or damage something that is not yours.
Well, no, that's the second law.
Sorry, whatever. Sorry, I'm sorry.
But yeah, do
Oh,
not
oh.
willfully and without fully informed consent take or damage something that isn't yours.
Okay, does that include pieces of the earth, like trees and rocks and minerals?
Well, if it's not on your land, yes.
Oh, okay, so now we have property.
Well, yeah, you own that part of the land you live on and maintain
How
for
do
your
I
living.
transfer that ownership if I want to move?
You just you might put a notice saying, I've got this house here, anybody want it, take it. I've found another place over there, that guy doesn't want his and I like it and I'm going to take it. And of course, most of us will be living in sky houses and it won't be a problem.
Okay, we're living in sky houses, but then there's this earth thing that we call that, ball below us. Sorry, Ian.
Right. Yeah, we should take care of it.
Okay, I agree.
Organically.
Sure, we should. But, my sky house, these robots are really good at making this synthetic wood products. But my chairs, they just don't look real, and they don't have that real natural glow of real wood. And I would like to go down there and chop down a whole bunch of fucking trees because me and my friends want wood furniture, wood floors, wood siding.
Well,
what if I have to go tear up a whole forest because I like gold and there's a bunch of gold under that piece of forest?
Well, I don't think that the gold is going to motivate you because you'll be able to get gold as you see fit.
Well, I'm talking about rare commodities.
Here's the thing. There won't really be anything rare, but this is what you might want to do. You put out, you've got a problem. You want some real wood. And somebody might say,
Ian, what am I hearing in your background? Is that you?
No, that's me. They put on the TV, and I'm sorry, I can't help that.
All right, no problem.
I thought I was gonna have the whole show without it, but
that's no problem. I want to make sure somebody wasn't arguing. But go ahead, Amy. Sorry.
No, I think it's Rachel Maddow or something hideous like that. Yes. Well.
Mad cow.
Oh.
At any rate, yeah. Where were we?
So what about my concern is, your second law, take and don't damage if it's not yours. Well,
yeah.
You mentioned concepts like this planet. It belongs to us. It's ours.
Yes.
We should be able to use it and do what we want with it.
Well, to an extent that, if you're not creating a problem, if you come upon a tree or two or three that you think you want to work and you cut them down, you're not creating a problem. But if
wait, stop right there. That is an opinion. Your opinion is that 2 or 3 trees is okay.
No.
My opinion might be 5 or 10 trees.
Hold on. If you cut them down and nobody notices, have you created a problem?
Yes.
Where?
Right in that spot that I cut them down.
If nobody notices.
You mean forever or at that moment?
Well,
what if I go walking in my favorite part of the forest and I haven't been there all year long, and I get to my favorite part and I find out that the majority of it is gone because somebody came in here and bulldozed it all down and took what they wanted, and it's freaking ruined.
Well,
nobody saw it happen.
That won't happen.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just not seeing it happening. I'm not seeing the motive. If you are going in there.
Because we have psychopaths, Amy. I love
But
you,
they're
and I
not-
love this concept of
but the
yours, but you have
psychopaths-
not yet
what's-
addressed the
What's
concept.
the motive? What's the motive? Just because you're a psychopath doesn't mean you say, I think I'll just go destroy something secretly. That's not, they need more motivation than that. That gives them nothing.
It's not about destroying something secretly. In fact, there are people on this planet who will do just that. But on the other hand, there may be something there that they want, and they'll destroy everything to get it.
There's people out there that'll rape and kill a woman just for fun.
Well, I understand that, but
You know, that's the
I'm
psychopathy
just
of it.
saying
So,
that they
look,
will.
I love you, Amy, and I love this concept of yours. And
I'm just going to say that you are not going to run into, statistically speaking, you will not see this.
You still need
You
it.
may,
I
you
disagree.
may
I
wind
disagree.
up. I'm going to say statistically, you will not. 94% of us are going to keep the 6%
This
that are
concept of
psychopaths.
yours, I love it, Amy, and I'm doing.
I'm just saying,
You know
let me-
that I've spent a lot of time.
Let me say this then. This is what I'm going to say. I can't solve every individual hypothetical
all right,
that
fair
comes
enough,
up.
Fair enough.
I'm going to tell you that overall, we will solve the problems that
right.
come up.
Okay,
Over
all right,
generations,
all right. But see, we're here for
generations,
discourse.
It'll develop into something good too.
That's my point. Overall, it's
Okay, but-
even if it's got some problems here and there, I'm going to tell you that we shouldn't be trying to find ways to talk against it, because I'm going to guarantee you it is vastly better than what we have now.
I agree, sweetheart, and I love this
Well, I agree
concept.
for
And you
that,
know
yeah.
that I've
Yes.
spent lots
Yes.
and lots of hours talking and debating and getting my head around it.
Okay. Look, can I zip through
The number one problem I have with this entire paradigm that you present is psychopathy. You do little to nothing to address the percentage of the population that are in fact psychopaths. They don't have empathy for all of us who have morals. They do what they can
know
to manipulate and take and control and
I know
control.
that, but they will. First of all, the only thing that they can take really is emotional.
What about people? They do it now. What's going to stop them from taking people in the future?
Well, eventually they will.
What about the human trafficking?
Well, first of all, without money, that's going to be not particularly.
You want to bet? You want to bet?
I'm just going to say, yeah, they might say. First of all, why would they go to say, "Oh, I'll go get a child for you"? They might decide to get
Satanists.
They might say, "I'll go get a child for me," and I'm going to say, as people disappear.
Yeah, but George Soros is a fat old man. He wants someone else to get a child for him.
Well, yeah,
You know
but
what I mean?
but if he doesn't have any way to pay them,
he doesn't need to pay them. There's
Well,
a
he
network of people who work for and with each other for the benefit of themselves because they're freaking psychopaths.
I'm going to say that, yes, we might wind up with communities of psychopaths, but as soon as we start seeing a problem, we will solve for it.
By vigilante. Because
Possibly. Well,
and I know it was a psyop, but it'll be similar to the guy who went into the pizza shop with a freaking gun and started shooting the place because he thought kids could get kept in the basement.
But it won't be like that because we won't be going in shooting randomly.
Well, it will, Amy, because not everybody's as smart as us. Not everybody is on the ball as some of us.
No, but I'm going to tell you that once you get rid of all the poisoning that we are under,
well,
you know, there's going to be a transition period. But yes, eventually what you're going to wind up with is a situation where virtually you will not see these problems. The psychopaths that choose outside the ethical limits will be handled. Sooner or later, we will handle all of them.
These people believe in what they call lesser magic. And if you study, and I think you have.
I have.
And if you understand lesser magic, then you know it actually works.
Well, I'm going to say that we will all be working very, very positive energies, okay? It will become, right now we are because of the way the universe is set up here on this planet, we are beset with negative energies, and we still do pretty damn admirably under the circumstances.
That's exactly right.
And I'm going to say, once we get rid of that control mechanism that puts us there day in and day out, the positive energies will take over.
Well,
They
I
will.
certainly hope so.
They will. With
only
90
hope so.
Well,
at
over
least,
generations, they will, because the whole idea of crime will just sort of phase out, right, over time.
exactly. The only
I mean,
crimes will be if you choose unethical behavior.
Yeah.
Break those 3 laws, and there's zero motivation to defraud.
Okay, well, look, I'm not asking you to solve every problem.
See, if
I'm just
everybody was
saying-
born, if everybody was born equal, then this
The
would work.
point, well, yeah, and that's
Sorry, go ahead.
what
Say again, Ian. I didn't hear that.
If everybody was born equal, then this would work. But not everybody's born equal, so it won't work until everybody's born equal.
everybody is born equal in one sense. They are all sovereign individuals.
No, I mean to this system, to this new system, everybody would have to be born equally in order to
Well,
for it to
everybody.
work. Like, I think, because you'd all have to be basically brought up within that system.
Well, I agree
to work with
that
that system, instead of go from one extreme to the other, right? So
well,
quickly.
I'm just saying, yeah, there will be a transition period, but I think we will
have
find
to
it to be.
incremental, right?
I think it will. Well, all it really takes is getting free energy out there, which
I think
means
the first. I still believe that a localized government is the best solution at the moment in our society, because if you're in a community, in a localized government where it has no influence from the federal level at all
top-down control mind promotes psychopaths.
I know, but
That's
at least
why,
within a local level, people can deal with those psychopaths one-on-one at the city council open chambers, right? For the people to go and voice their opinions.
You know what, Amy? I think Ian is onto something there.
And because
because
so localized, they won't have federal funding.
Well, that's what the local.
Please let me elaborate. If you take what Ian is saying and apply it to your paradigm with no money whatsoever, then the people that are on that council will be there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to solve the problem, which is what we don't have now.
Well, I'm going to say this much, okay? People are perfectly free to decide to elect people to solve problems for them locally if they want to, but they cannot enforce anything but the 3 laws of ethics on anyone who says, I don't consent to that council.
But you see what I mean, like with the federal government's influence, just like in a situation like the Bundy Ranch, for example, okay? There was some local guys that were like totally like, what are you guys doing? Asking the feds, why are you doing this? We're not involved in this, right?
Right.
And they were coming in there on their own. The feds were coming in on their own accord and doing whatever they wanted to do, right? Overstepping the local.
Well, no, I agree that we need.
And that's what we need to eliminate.
We need
centralized government, and that's why we're in the shithole we're in right now. Is because we have a centralized government, right?
Exactly.
And it has to be at a local level for your local district. You have a district
that's why the
everybody gets to say. There's an open forum online where you can voice any opinion you wanted to.
If you want to set, people want to set that up, absolutely more power to them. And if they want to participate in that, more power to them. The point is,
at this moment is a nationalized currency. Bring the banking, bring the printing back to our own national bank, where they don't charge interest on it. And we keep continuing using the fiat money. It's not really fiat at that point.
I heard your deep sigh, Amy. We have to get there in
not instant
steps.
debt at that
We
point.
add
right?
free energy. That is vital.
Yeah, she's right.
Well, yeah,
That would be a game changer.
we have
It
to.
is
Yeah,
a
get out
game
of the
changer.
petrodollar. Get out of it. That's what we need to do.
Well, I don't think it matters what token we use to account for human energy.
I like
do not
seashells.
think we could use. I mean, it could be seashells. It could be those sticks that were notched and split so that
I
you
like
could,
seashells. They're
you
pretty.
know, yeah, beads, really pretty beads.
But
It
change
doesn't-
has to come at a local level. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
you know.
yeah, I
what I mean?
understand that, but here's the thing. This is what I've got. The next portion of my little thing here. The
Go ahead.
tipping point. The tipping point of awareness. Once 10% of us are aware of something, we all seem to have the awareness. This is the tipping point. Awareness can rapidly spread via the interweb. The more that choose to spread awareness, the faster it will spread. Consciously choosing. As a group, humans can consciously choose any change as long as awareness has reached the tipping point. With a plan, humans on this planet can create heaven on earth. The choices we can choose to spread awareness of a plan for the planet. We can choose to implement the plan. We can create heaven here on earth for all humans. Keep it in consciousness. So the plan, spread awareness of the plan to the tipping point. Release free energy technologies. Invest in replacing old energy sources with free energy. Invest in replacing humans with robots and all necessary functions no one wants to do, or filling in when we don't have enough people. For example, farming. People love to farm. Not everybody, but there are plenty that do. Let them do what farming they want to do, and then when there's not enough to meet demand, fill in with robots.
Okay, Amy. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I'm sorry. No, please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Okay. Spread the ideas of personal witness. That's what the right to film your own perspective is. Open source programming for all works. The betterment ethic. Following our bliss and teaching our children to find theirs. Organic farming only. Out on the loose, you know, the whole idea is we really should take care of our planet and eradicate GMO that's loose. Stigmergic governance. Set up a central website with local, regional, continental, planetary levels. Social responsibility is spending 15 minutes or more a day checking the site and adding input when one sees a problem or solution. If we choose, we can release humanity from slavery, hunger, poverty, oppression, profit motive, profiteering. And that's the end of my presentation. I've managed to make it through.
Well, fantastic. I'm glad you did.
We're only 10 minutes into overtime. Yay.
Yay.
Okay, well, I've got another question or two for you.
Okay.
Have you thought much about how we go from here to there?
Yeah, release free energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
On
That's
that
the start.
note, once again,
And-
I'm a logistics
well,
man. I'm a
Release
logistics
free
man.
energy. First of all,
Okay.
enough of
Okay.
us have to know about it along with the free energy.
Okay.
Those two.
Knowing about it is one thing. Getting the people who have the guns to let it go is something else.
Well, that's as far
And
as
let's
that
keep
goes.
in mind that they are psychopaths and they will dust to this whole fucking planet before they let it go.
That's right.
Well, they may.
But I'm trying to say, like, you can't break through that secret society. Like, how do you break through it?
How do we go from here to there, sweetheart? I love your idea, but literally,
I know, me too.
I'm
I love
willing
the
for
idea. It's
anything
awesome.
new right now. At this
The
point, I'm
only-
willing to trade turds for lunch. I mean, whatever it takes. I'm willing to try anything else other than what we have at this point.
Well, number one, we each individual has to withdraw consent. They do need our consent. Do you understand that? I don't know
Yeah.
why, but they need our consent.
They do.
One of the
Yeah.
laws of the universe, the one
They,
that we
if
don't fully
they,
understand.
that's why
Yeah.
they tell us, not fully inform us, but they tell us what they're going to do.
Right.
Right.
And then
Exactly.
they get,
It's one of the laws of the universe.
they
And
get
They
our
release-
implied consent.
it's a silent acquiescence that they seek.
That's
Go ahead.
the implied consent by not specifically not consenting. So we have to
Okay.
specifically and
Consent.
boldly and publicly not consent. And that's why I keep saying I don't consent to that.
Okay.
When
One more-
I hit something I don't consent to, it's I don't consent.
One more question. Have you thought much about the human ego and how it plays into this paradigm?
Well, I have, and I tell you what, I know a lot of people who go home after their work and work on something that they just absolutely love to do and get their reputation, their kudos, their bragging rights, their, I built this beautiful model. I invented this thing. Whatever. Yes.
So what you're suggesting is that there is so much resources on this planet that every single human being, if they wanted to express their egos to the fullest, that we could all have golden toilets and burl wood furniture.
Here's the thing, though. The ego is motivated by social status, and if we all could have gold toilets, what point is there? That's no status. That's no status at all.
All right, excellent answer. Excellent. Good on you.
Very good reply, because yeah, she's right, because there would be no need for that status, because you'd all be the same.
That's not what
We'd all
makes
be the
status.
In this society, we'd all be the same. Nobody would be better than anyone
Your
else.
accomplishments, the things you have accomplished.
It's like the old adage, if everybody is special, then nobody is special.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
Well, here's the thing. What will set people off is whether they have contributed to the betterment. If you will get high status for solving problems ethically and peacefully. You will get high status for inventing things that make it better. You will get high status for taking care of people that need help. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where the ego will come in. Hey, I'm the one that took care of that. And that's where the ego is going to come out in a positive manifestation over,
if not minimalistic.
Conceivably, but I'm just saying, the ability to say that you were the one that did something that everybody knows about. I mean, hey.
I mean, some people are satisfied with a pat on the back. Some people like a little bit more.
Well, yeah.
Egos need to be stroked a little bit more. We're not all the same.
We're
not all the same. So
they will work all the harder to gain that social currency.
Right.
Well,
there'd be a parade every week in this society.
Amy, I know that you've written your biography, but have you written a book, like a fictional book, with this whole paradigm play out?
Well, it's not a book, but a short story. Not plain. Well, I've written a novella. I could not get it into novel size. I'm sorry. I wrote it 8 years ago when it all came together in my head, when I read the Entropy book, and I posted it in the spirit of the abundance paradigm. It is free. It can be found on Above Top Secret in their PDFs, and I could probably find the link number, but it's a big long series of numbers to get to it. And you know, I can't throw links into the thing, but I could probably find the link. I have written a novella. I've also got a updated version because I wrote it and there were other things that I felt I needed to clarify or add to or shift a bit within it. But let me see, what file is that in? It must be in this one. Let me do a find. And I'll drop it into the window in the Hangout, and then whoever's in charge can, let's see.
Yeah, just flip the link in there and I'll screen share
Yeah,
it.
as soon as I find it. There it is. Okay, yeah, it's like https://files.abovetopsecret.com/AAD67F70B. Hold on, I'm going to post it in here. And then you can post it out there and maybe post it in the vid comments or something when the vid's up. That's the file folder. I mean the file PDF file. That was back when I was at Above Top Secret. I used to be a silver contributor there, and then when I came out with the abundance paradigm and started trying to point people to my threads there at ATS, I got accused of spamming, and they then banned me from the site. Do you think they were a little bit CIA run? Yeah, they're CIA. Anyway, they didn't want my ideas around there, but they have kept the link active, and you can download the older version of the abundance paradigm in PDF, which isn't quite a book. But I also wrote a very short story, or relatively short story, on it's and posted it on my site. It's called Quite the Opposite, a short story for change. And let me find the link to that. And people can read that, and that's a little more it's a little more just going into let's see, where is it? It's a little more well, it's definitely a fictional story. I used an ET as the method for delivering the ideas, and anyway, there it is. It's now in the Hangout chat thingy. Any rate, people can read those books and those pieces. The abundance paradigm is a view of what it, in part, a view of what it looks like in the future, and the other is how we might, you know, it's a summation of that presentation I just gave, basically. But you'll see if you read it.
It's pretty long.
What? The Quite the Opposite?
It's 59 pages.
Oh, the PDF?
76 pages.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that boils down to novella. They want like 150 pages minimum for a novel.
Right.
So it's a bit longer than a short story. The short story is the one that posted on my site at tapyourit.boards.net. And it's short. It looks longer than it is because of the large font. I use the large font because it's easy to read.
Good.
And so people going to my site will go, oh my gosh, it's such a long thing. No, it isn't really. It's not as long as it looks, honest.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, I've got a copy of it. I saved it there. So
Awesome. I invite everybody who is at all interested to download that and hope that it shows up in the description box when this gets posted. And when I upload this to my channel, it will be included. Both those links will be included.
cool.
So
yeah, well, that pretty much wraps up her. Did you have anything else to talk about, Aaron? Since you weren't here earlier, anything else on the Pizzagate front or anything? Or
Aaron?
Aaron?
Did he fall off?
I think we might just wrap it up here soon.
I'm sorry, guys. I had to go stoke the fire. I was letting Amy just finish what she was saying. And
Oh.
it's chilly down here, and I got to keep I got my wood stove running
yeah.
high right now.
Yeah.
See, I'm one of those people who actually busts his ass to gather, collect, stack, store, clean, carry, and restack, and then burn firewood because I've got one badass wood stove, and
I wish I was there.
I converted my gas water heater over to electric, and then I called the gas company and I shut the gas off. Because I live in a brick ranch, and this wood stove is so badass. It heats this whole house almost entirely, and I'm talking about when it's 15 degrees outside, all we need is one space heater on the back side of the house, and we're good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, but
Right.
you know, burning, you know, for your entire warmth to keep a whole house warm, it's a lot of physical work. You know, so basically, I've created my own work in that sense. So,
right, but you enjoy it, right?
Well, I enjoy the fire. I don't enjoy the work.
Cutting all the wood.
Just imagine when you have your robots to do it for you.
See, another thing I do enjoy very, very thoroughly is telling the gas company to kiss off.
Well, yeah.
Because literally
6
to 7 months out of the year, I pay a $40 service fee just to have that shit turned on. Or not even if I don't use it, it's $40 a month.
Jeez.
And to me, I would rather jab myself in the eyeballs with hot fondue forks.
Yes.
That makes me just go insane thinking about I have to pay this much money just for the privilege of having it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, sooner or later, you won't have to pay for the electricity even.
So if I do the math, that little tiny service fee on only the months that I don't use it, by the way, because I still get charged a service fee even for the months when I do use it.
Yep.
So $40 a month times 7 is 28.
$280.
So we're talking $280
Eesh.
for all. Those are the months that I don't use it. Well, you know what I did a couple of weeks ago? I got a relationship with the people over at Ryan's Tree Service. I went over there and I made a deal for $360. So basically $80 above and beyond the 280. So
nice.
for $360, I got 6 truckloads of wood, and I'm talking very stacked, not tossed. I stacked it and packed my bed of my truck.
Oh, yeah.
And I got probably 3 or 4 cords of wood.
Nice.
And luckily, it's a mild winter, and that's more than enough to get me through this winter. So so for what it would cost me to have gas for the 7 months that I don't use it, I pretty much paid for the heat that I need all year long.
Yeah.
Very cool.
You know what I mean?
Very cool. Yeah. With you.
I know. Yeah.
Anyway.
Lots of chopping to do. That's all.
Yeah.
No, I don't chop it. It's already split. I just buy it.
Oh, really? It's already split.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
How many quarts do you got?
This year I only got about 3.5 to 4 cords. Now it's been a late winter, and hopefully it'll be a mild winter. It's turning out like it's looking like it's going to be a short and mild winter, so I don't need that much. But I have in the past gone through, 6 cords on a cold winter, a long cold winter. So and those are the early years when I started doing this, and I would drive out where a subdivision was being developed, where the guys would come in and they would bulldoze a bunch of trees into a pile, and then that pile would sit for weeks or months until somebody else came and picked it up and hauled it away. And I'm a contractor, so I'm all over the place, and I would find these locations, and I would show up with my chainsaw, and I would bring home, big logs and whatever I could cut and carry, and then I'd chop it all, and I did all the work, all of it, and I literally made it several years without paying a single penny for any heat.
Nice.
But it was work, boy. It was work. So like I said earlier, if you want to go live off the grid, you have just created yourself a lifetime of job security.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you're disabled like I am, you don't have that option. So, oh well.
Well, you're still doing a service to humanity.
Oh yeah, I'm working my butt off. It's just not physical labor.
Right.
It's intellectual labor.
Hey,
Idea
guys.
labor.
I'm gonna.
Hey, do you guys want to do a private chat? Do you want to close this out and get back on and finish talking for a little bit?
Sounds like a plan.
I'm a little bit
Well,
fired
thanks
up.
everybody. Sorry we didn't have a star-studded lineup tonight.
Looks like we might have Wolfgang Halbig on the hook. What's the deal with that, Ian?
We're trying to get Wolfgang Halbig, so keep your prayers. I want your prayers that we get him.
Now, we've been in contact with Wolfgang on several occasions this past week, and it looks like we may have an interview lined up in the next couple of weeks. So,
yep. My wife was on the phone with them, and she's trying to get it set up for us. So.
You mean our producer?
Yeah. So we'll work on that, and I don't know how to get a hold of Jordan Maxwell. I don't know how.
I'm going to get a hold of Jordan Maxwell because I'm going to join his research society. I can afford the $30. It's for a full year, and it'll give me access to all the stuff that he's afraid to talk about in public.
Right.
Just to let you know, I have tried to get a hold of John Rappaport, but so far I've ventured several different ways and gotten zero response, so I cannot say I'm ever going to be successful. We shall hope that I will.
I would.
Super busy dude, that guy.
I have no doubt that the rest of the people on our list, and Amy, if you're not familiar, I've got oh crap, forgive me, it's out in the truck. Ian, do you have that list?
Yep, my wife still has that list.
I mean, do you have it handy?
No, I don't know where she's put it.
Well, that's all right. I'm sure
we can talk about it offline. We can talk about it offline because I would like Amy to have that list, because if Amy's interested in trying to contact people, she needs to know the list of people we want to talk to.
That's true. It doesn't help. Let me see if I can divine this information.
You do remote viewing, don't you?
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So go ahead. Are you ready queued up with our outro or anything, Ian?
I need a minute to cue this up here.
I tell you what, you want to do the screen share and I'll do the audio?
I can do both. I'll do it right this time. Make sure I screen share all together.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for listening. If you made it this far, right now we've got 2 people watching. I suspect it's me and Ian.
and me. I'm in there.
Are you watching the live show in the chat box?
Yeah.
Oh, Ian, are you watching the live show in the chat box?
I was.
Oh, so it's me and Amy right now. That's the 2 people watching.
Well, no, I've got it open, so I don't think.
Oh, you do?
I don't think I can.
Maybe it's counting 2 other people. If there's anybody.
Well, I know what it is. One is the host of the show, and you don't count.
Well, okay. Let me just throw this out there. If there's anybody listening who's watching right at this very moment, say something in the chat box just so I know that the two people that it's showing that are watching are not me and Amy, and I suspect that it is.
Oh, there is. Okay, so there's two other. Oh, that's you. And
yeah, because I've got a separate tab open, and I think Amy does. So I think the two
Yep.
people watching are me and Amy.
I
And
think
Ian, you can edit this out later on. This whole, banter
Yeah.
at the end here, and
Oh, yeah.
we'll just pause for a moment when you're ready to cue
well,
that up.
that means I have to
outro.
re-upload it though. But I don't know how many.
When
views
when
we
you're
got.
ready, Ian, just let me know because I want to say thanks to everybody who showed up in the chat, especially Bass
Matt.
Levick, aka Matt, Mike Resnecki, and Zach from Juxtapose. We had Moni G stop by. So you just let me know when you're ready. I want to say thanks to everybody. We can pause and do our outro, and then you can delete this banter in the middle.
All right, guys. Till next time. It's been Conspiracy or Not. Here we come.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. And we will see you next week. Keep your fingers crossed. We might have Wolfgang Halbig on the hook here. Looks like we have an interview set up. I want to say thanks to Amy for being our regular contributor. Moni G in the chat box here. We have Zach Juxtapose, and we have also Zach Hawkins, Baslevic, aka Matt. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Thanks for your contributions, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Amy, for all your for going over your.
Oh, my pleasure. Are you kidding? I've been wanting to do that for a very long while.
Yeah, for sure. So
Thanks, Amy. You've been awesome. You guys did a great job.
Thanks for making.
Thank you.
Thanks everybody in the chat. See you guys next time.